Good evening, everybody. Zach Caban deputising for Scott Rankin, whose voice box and vocal cords are probably still recovering from last week, alongside Stephen Sandman Clark. Welcome to round two of the championship, presented by the great people at Logitech and all the other supporting partners of the SimSpeed Esports Network and, of course, the Australian Sim Racing Group. Stephen Sandman Clark, the number one ticket holder of the Brisbane Heat, is here alongside me, mates. Cricket season done. We can now focus wholly and solely on motor racing. That's a good thing for all and sundry. The good news, we've got rain in the vicinity. We've been practicing in the rain. Bad news, we're hearing that that's not expected to stick around for the race, but the boys have their work cut out to put on a better show than what they did last week.
Absolutely. G'day, Zach. Nice to join you in the commentary box again, mate. Our B-roll vision at the moment shows beautiful sunshine and dry track, but I can assure you that there is a little bit of moisture on track for the moment. But we believe that the rain is probably going to leave us, and we will have a dry track or a drying circuit. But boy, oh boy, if anything was to go by last week's race, I'm really looking forward to Hockenheim Ring. We saw a bit of everything at Mosport, and Robbie Gibbs got away with it just by the skin of his teeth. And now we see what round two holds as we look at the points. Jake Burton, our series leader for this 4-round championship. Although he got a bit unlucky. He had very good pace in in qualifying. Obviously, he started off pole, then fell back a little bit and only missed out by under half a second just to take the win. Really close, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mentioned to the boys off air before we got going that I managed to catch a replay of last week's action only last night, and it had you on the edge of your seat there the last few laps, ladies and gentlemen. You'd probably sense that from the hype in the commentary box, that it was a cutthroat situation there for Jake Burton. Unfortunately, not able to find the 2 or 3 tenths required to displace Robbie Gibbs out of that lead position. Phenomenal performance from him to build and extend and sustain that margin that he had, though, at the front of the field to grab the golden ticket and book his way into the main game. Let's have a look at the other end of the spectrum, though, Sam, man. I mean, there's a lot of would-be contenders there tonight. The golden ticket is, obviously the goal here, and that's the aim, and that's what everybody wants. But it's not necessarily a death sentence if you don't get one. Consistency will get you in, but you'll have to work all 4 weeks for it.
Yeah, it's like you've got a little bit of a backup plan, isn't it? Obviously you want to get that win because it guarantees you a spot straight away. And then you don't have to. You can pretty much relax for the next 3 weeks and sit on the couch and enjoy the broadcast. But you've got 2 ways to attack it, and consistency will get you in, but it's going to get tighter and tighter as the rounds go on. We've obviously had our first race last week, and with only 3 quick more rounds to go, this 4-round series will finish very quickly. So they need to be very mindful of where they sit in the points.
Want to have a chat about a couple of guys that are in a win it or bin it situation at the moment, but not before we have a look at the playground for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. 4.5 kilometres around here, the Hockenheim circuit in Germany, as I said, for many years the home of the German Formula One Grand Prix. The current layout was revised from the original back in between the 2001 and 2002 German Grand Prix, and that is the lay of the land tonight. 4.574 kilometres or 2.842 miles, 16 turns clockwise the direction. Some famous sections of circuit here, Sam, man, that we'll be talking about for much of the evening. The Parabolica, that run down the curved back straight to the biggest braking point on the circuit at turn 6. Then you've got the arena layout, then the stadium section. It's a circuit where you're going to have to work really hard for your overtaking opportunities to be executed and consolidated.
Absolutely, and some big stops on the brakes too. We talked about, like you just mentioned just then, the run through Parabolica into turn 6, but it's into turn 2, it's a decent stop and a hard right-hander. In turn 6, it's a massive stop, hard right-hander. And then into Mercedes, where you got the left-hander through 8. Like, it's just, there's plenty of opportunities to make up positions, make those bold dives up the inside, and that's where we tend to see maybe a little bit of carnage at that hairpin at turn 6, because people go for the dive bomb. Sometimes they jump on the brakes and the old girl doesn't pull up as quite as they'd like, and there's always a little bit of controversy and contact. So it's going to make for some interesting racing, no doubt about that.
You reckon the boys will be able to sustain the intensity that we saw last week, or are we anticipating a slightly tamer affair this evening when the track dries up?
I imagine it's probably It's catch-22, isn't it? I think round one you can be really risky and you can take those chances because obviously it's win and you're in, and then you got to just have a decent finish under your belt, but you can't be aggressive like that for the entire rounds remaining, because if you do that again tonight and you've had last week's drama, and if things to go to custard tonight, then it's going to be a very hard clawback. Then the pressure comes to you about being win and you're in, and that's hard enough as it is. So I think these guys will be a little bit cautious. I think one factor is his racetrack. They're hoping that it'll dry up in time, because we can see that there's probably no more showers on the way, but it's a drying racetrack. It's a one-groove racetrack at the moment.
There's the lay of the land, ladies and gentlemen. That's the rules at play here for the 2026 qualifying series. Much the same as 2025. The 4 race winners automatically join the grid for the main series, which kicks off in March. The top 16 in points, once you eliminate the guys that have grabbed a race win from the points equation, they'll also make their way into the main dance. They'll join the top 20 from last year's series, plus the winner of the co-driver clash from race week at Mount Panorama back in November. And the Australian Sim Racing Group, the powers that be that run and operate this series, they, of course, will also allocate 4 series wildcards for the 12-round campaign, giving us a field of 45 in total. And again, I guess it's a catch-22 again, isn't it, Sam, man? When you have a look at the details for tonight, 20-minute open qualifying session, we know that already. 2 compulsory pit stops. Strategy was a big talking point last week. Interestingly, year on year, the big change is that there is no fuel tank restriction, and the race distance tonight is a smidgen over 205 kilometres, 45 laps, 205.83 kilometres, the race distance here. So we'll talk about critical laps and fuel burn numbers in just a moment, mate, but let's talk about the catch-22 here, because if you don't manage to succeed and book your ticket into the big dance over the course of the next 3 weeks, right, and there's going to be some heartbreak when we get to the Red Bull Ring on the final stop in 2 weeks' time. But this is a great opportunity for some of these guys to audition for potential vitally important co-driver roles later in the season, because I would imagine, based on what we saw last year, that the teams will be quick to recruit their co-drivers based on who doesn't make the cut here after the next 3 weeks have played out.
Yeah, massive valid point there, Zach, because, enduro season is very important to this championship, and knowing that they can't rely, on a full-timer in the series. This is a good little breeding ground. Oh, you see Stenny just holding on to it the best he can. He's going to make hard contact there, but thankfully that's no foul for him, just in practice. But, it's a good opportunity for a lot of drivers to put their hand up and say, hey, I reckon you could trust me if you put me in one of these teams come enduro season. If I can put on a good show here and possibly miss out on the cut, then definitely I'm putting my hand up for the enduros.
Tyre compounds are an interesting talking point at the moment, because as we mentioned when we got on air, the track has been wet for the bulk of the practice session. But Sam, man, there's a few people at least putting the feelers out to see what it's going to be like on dries when we get into qualifying, should the track still be lightly wet.
Yeah, that's right. It looks like there's still a lot of teams out there struggling. They're on wets, and what they're doing is they're making the most of these last couple of minutes that they've got before qualifying starts, because you've only got that 20-minute session. I imagine what teams might do, and I'm only guessing here, is that they'll probably go out, do 1 lap on wet straight away, get a feel for the racetrack, lay down a banker, and then, I guess, assess the track as it goes on. You can see this driving line. There is still a little bit of spray coming up from the cars in front, so that's still an indicator that the wets are still probably a decent tyre to be on. So I think the likes of Ratu and Sam Blacklock, they probably did their times on the wet, and now they're trying the dry compound to see what it's like. But it's probably a little bit sketchy at this stage.
Yeah, there's usually that drop-off that goes from lightly wet to very lightly wet. Once you get to very lightly wet, the temptation to transition onto the dry compound tyre becomes real. Again, there's a very fine line, and at the moment you can see the boys out there really working hard for their lap speed and time on the dry compounds. Bradley Rudder across the line, fastest in practice so far. The time's 1:49.955. Sam Blacklock, his teammate, 1:50.025. And good to see Orbit drop there with a strong presence at the top of this field in practice. It'll be interesting to see if they can convert that into qualifying speed and then race pace as well.
That was actually interesting riding on board there because Bradley Ratu made that time on the dry tyre. So he's just shown that there is actually a little bit of traction out there with the dry tyre, and you'll probably see a couple of people just flirting with that. And of course, the danger is where the conditions are like this. If you are on that dry tyre, it's still a one groove racetrack at the moment. So if you're on a dry tyre, you try to pull out and make the move on someone, you're going to be on the wet part of the racetrack. So something for these teams to be mindful as we head into the next 30 seconds of this session. Oh, and there's a car heavily into the concrete there.
Let's just quickly, while we've got 25 seconds before the cars make their way out for qualifying, mate, talk about the guys at the bottom of the field. Shocker of a night last week for Marcelo Rivera. But Brodie Sentence, there's a guy that is in a win it or bin it predicament for the next 2 weeks. He needs to leave nothing on the table and go hell for leather because the understanding, the discussion pre-race was that he might be missing from the grid for one of these qualifying rounds, which means he's only got 2 bites of the cherry left. And there's a guy that will be quickly snapped up for a co-driver role should he miss out here.
Yeah, and the sad bit is when you miss one of these races being such a short round series is that it doesn't matter about the consistency because you know hope when there's, a whole points race missing. So, yeah, the pressure's on for the next couple of rounds, that's for sure.
Here we go. There are the results from the practice session for you, boys and girls. Orbit dropped there 1-2, and it's hosing down in Germany for the qualifying session, which I don't mind. I think that really spices and livens things up for tonight, Sam, man, because this is a circuit where, speaking from past experience commentating on other platforms and in other disciplines as well, GT3, GT4, and also, I guess, Porsche Cup too, watching racing around here, it can be very lively when they're short, sharp, snappy sprint races, but then when you get out there and it's an elongated, like tonight is 200 kilometres or 1 hour or whatever the case may be, you work hard for your entertainment value. Throw all that out the window because the wet weather livens everything up from the outset. So if the rain sticks around, you won't want to miss a moment of tonight's action.
Yeah, and the difference that you're going to see from regular dry qualifying to what we've got right now at the moment is that when it's a dry session, you punch out one lap, you head back to pit lane, you put on a new set of Dunlops and you go again. It's a different story in the wet. What you do is you go out and you make the most of your wets and you build that temperature up. So the track will get better and better. There'll be a drier line that it will start to appear. And as these tyres, one of the TTR cars have a hard time pulling up at the hairpin, but you actually want to keep the temperature in these tyres, so you won't be making those crucial pit stops every couple of laps to get the fresh tyres. You want to get that temperature up and get that track as it changes conditions, but we can still see some light rainfall, so it might not be too much of a drying line, but it will taper off a little bit, and there will be some sort of race line that these teams will be able to take advantage of.
I live for the day where iRacing gets around the idea of putting canoes and kayaks on the racetrack because they wouldn't look out of place in these conditions here, ladies and gentlemen. There's certainly enough water to work with. Have a look at some of the puddles forming, both on and off the racetrack. So that's going to be something to be mindful of as well as these drivers, if they fall foul and head left or right of the track limits, whether they eat concrete or whether they get stuck in puddles that are forming on the verges of the bitumen. So keep an eye out for that too. It's going to be a frantic qualifying session here for all the reasons that Sam Mann just mentioned. 17.5 minutes to go. What we also should note is the serious drop-off in time between wet weather laps and dry weather laps around here. It will be slower, naturally, right? That's par for the course in any motorsport discipline. But that also means you've probably likely got 1 or 2 less bites of the cherry here, Sam, man. Maybe there's something to be said about not having to go down pit lane and grab fresh rubber as well, so it might counterbalance the other, but less time to work with because your laps are going to take longer to complete.
Yeah, and when you do pit for those, like I said earlier, you want that temperature in your tyres. That's one of your best friends when it's raining conditions like this, is you build that temperature, you want to try and keep it in the tyre. So visibility, and it's exactly what Brad Newman's got at the moment. He's got no traffic in front of him, so he's got a nice clear racetrack. Doesn't have to worry about visibility. So now he can just worry about hitting his marks and he can see where these puddles are, try his best to dodge them And you can see he's using different lines. He's got a little bit wide and touched the painted area of the racetrack, so that hurts a little bit in these conditions, but he's managed to get away with it.
So this will be the benchmark for everybody to try and either match or improve upon, ladies and gentlemen. We watch Brad Newman in the number 3 make his way around onto the main straight. Let's get an idea of what the hot lap times are going to be in the early stages, and look at how treacherous it is and how hard he's having to work the car through the final corner. Across the line he goes, 1 minute 55.867, so about 10 seconds slower than what we saw at the very tail end of qualifying, practice I should say. So that's a substantial drop off there. Now, 1 minute, this is William Sapstead coming around onto the main straight. Josh Horton, Blake Fitz, Chris Ireland have gone and clocked their laps. Rhino Sullivan to the top for ERT. Very nicely done from the 74. Picked up a minor indiscretion, a few second penalty last week at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He'll be hoping for a clean run tonight, and there's a man that on his night, Sam Man, could very easily book a golden ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the talking points, obviously, from the last round, is those penalties. I mean, it almost gifted Jake Burton the win, and but Robbie Gibbs had that 5-second penalty. He was able to hold off, and like you said, with Rhino Sullivan, he was on target to finish in P2, but with that penalty, ended up coming home in 5th. So still a good points day, but that's the last thing you need.
OG Gear replay here on the run down to the famed hairpin.
Whoa.
Puddles,
yeah,
lock up and gone. Thankfully, not taking any collateral damage on the way through.
It was smart heads-up driving. The visibility he had was awful, and he sort of felt he was going in too hot. So what did he do? He just moved up the inside and then just did his best not to hit his competitors around him. So that was really good heads-up driving.
That was Angus Lawford, of course. Here's Aaron Borg, the number 4. I've known Borgie a long time. Good to see him in his element here, behind the wheel in the sim world. I had the pleasure of racing against him and commentating him in karting going back, 20 years now. I'm showing my age, aren't I? But there's a very well-credentialed steerer for TTR, and he also would love nothing more than to book a golden ticket into the big dance that is the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series for 2026. New fastest lap at the top of the field. Jack Whittis, Rain Campbell, Blake Fitz, Rhino Sullivan at the top of the order, and Brian Borg into second spot. Now Rhino Sullivan. So Brad Newman, our front runner early on, has gone to pit lane, and he's 2 seconds off the pace all of a sudden, Sam Man. That changed very quickly. Hayden Belt now to the top.
Yeah, these times, and like I said, the track is, even though it's still raining a little bit, the track is improving somewhat because you've got cars on track that's moving the water off the racing line. So you can see there is a little bit of I won't say dry line, because it's a drier line, trying to keep away from the puddles and all the rest of it. So this track's improving as the laps go on. So where it's at the moment, and the amount of spray that you can see, look at this, Chris Ireland, he's got all the vision that's happening in front of him. But they're trying to utilise the best part of these racetrack conditions, and probably if the rain stays like this, where it's light rain, the best lap might be towards the end, because the track may just be that somewhat drier and less puddle.
And keep an eye out too, something we haven't discussed yet, is if there's a definitive dry line in the opening laps of this race, when it comes up in about 20 minutes time, noting that we've got to get through the final 12 minutes of qualifying. We're also going to have the grid walk, which we're looking forward to as well. But make note, if there's a wet line there, Sam Man, at the start of the race, and a dry line, you don't want to be on the wet line, and you could be at a distinct disadvantage there in the early stages.
Yeah, that's right. And look, people are going to be second-guessing what these conditions are going to be like once the green flag drops. So I imagine we're still going to have a wet racetrack, but whether the heavens will still be opening up, it's still yet to be told. But you're right, you do want to be on the drier part of the racetrack. But I guess it's, what do you want to do, though? Do you want to grab pole, or do you want to sit on a certain side of the racetrack? I think I'm going to go for pole every single time.
Yeah, you can't orchestrate or fabricate that, can you? Because everyone will be trying to do the same things. So it's a double-edged sword, and you're just going to have to play with the card hand that you're dealt on this particular occasion. It's going to be a fascinating 45 laps, because if we have a transition from wet to dry, that's also going to keep everybody second guessing when's the right time to pull the trigger and change tyre compounds. We pick up Tom Freer here in 14th position. On the bubble at the moment, he's the man that sits 19th in the point standings going into this round. Remember that the bubble becomes 18th tonight, 18th in, 19th out, and then 17th and then 16th over the next couple of weeks. A win is an automatic free pass. Welcome aboard into the Pro Series for 2026. Everybody else will be back next week, winding up at the Imola circuit in Italy. So we're done with our North American swing. It was great to go to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park to get the championship going. Now it's European favourites. The Hockenheim ring, the Red Bull ring in week 4, Imola next week to see us through to the end of the campaign. Jack Vidas, then Rhino Sullivan, Sam Blacklock, and also Jordan Mazzaroli making up the top 4 at the moment. Lachlan Capel in 5th. Amazing to see the pace that separates this field again, Sam, man. I mean, I'm looking down the leaderboard at the moment. Everyone inside the top 20 is within a second of the pole sitter. Not really surprising, because I think it was just over a second that covered the 45 that made it into the qualifying series from the outset.
Yeah, and it's always a little bit spicier when you add a little bit of water, isn't it? And always I see Rain Cable now up straight to the top on a 52, so the first driver into the 52s now. So this track is improving, but yeah, it always makes things a little bit interesting. And then you go up and down the board at the moment, and our points leader coming in tonight, who was unlucky to miss out on the win last week, Jake Burton, he's back in 12th at the moment. So he's still got his work cut out for him with only just under 10 minutes to go. So not only does he want to be in a better position up the grid, but not just for position, but for visibility. Back there, it's going to be awful if the track's really wet. He'll struggle a little bit in those opening laps.
Riding on board now with Jack Vidas, who's now found himself relegated down into position number 3 at the expense of both Rain Campbell in second and now Rhino Sullivan, the front runner of this qualifying session. Times have come down to 1 minute 52.840. So again, as Sam Mann has highlighted, this track, the condition thereof, improving ever so gradually as this session plays out. We're now more than halfway through the session. We're in the arena section of the circuit. We'll flick it back to the right-hand side here through the puddles, and look at the wheel control from Jack Vidas. On the right-hander there, had a couple of bites at the cherry to keep it straight. We'll do the same again as he enters the stadium section. Puddles are forming either side of the track edges on the curbing there as well. He's now been displaced by Tom Freer. Tom Freer's gone P3, and Vidas has gone around. That's that run done.
Yeah, it got away from him. Look, if his tyres are pretty average, I'd probably think about making a pit stop and just put on another set. No, he's happy with them. So keeps the temps up and keeps on going.
Dennis Gaderick has gone to the top of the points table of the qualifying session leaderboard, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind. 1 minute 52.705, 0.13 on Rhino Sullivan, and Rain Campbell only a couple of tenths back. Tom Freer, half a second between him and Gaderick at the moment. We ride with Josh Horton.
So Horton he's in 19th at the moment. Love the laser focus. Look at him. He doesn't care who's behind him. He's just eyes forward. You can see he's just easy with the throttle. Just trying his absolute best to get the power down, as less wheel spin as he can. And now he's looking for that little bit of a dry line. Stay away from the puddles on the left. Good smart there. And now he's picking a braking zone. Sounds good. Didn't lock a tyre. Oh, a little bit sideways there as he turned in. And that's it. You're just on tenterhooks. Look at him battling it. He's like, I've lost this lap. So he's going to move out of the way now. Good sportsmanship. He knew that he probably threw that lap away. So he just moved over and said, all right, well, you guys can push on and I'll reset and go again.
Wayne Walker has jumped up into 3rd spot. Rain Campbell back to 4th. Brian Borg is 5th. Blake Warboys, Tom Freer, 3rd a minute ago, now 7th. Jack Vidas, Haydenveld and Sam Blacklock. That leaderboard is changing quicker than we can keep up with it, ladies and gentlemen. So much unfolding on the racetrack. We're staying across it as best we can for you. 0.1 the margin, 0.13 the margin. Dennis Gaderick, the Rhino Sullivan, and Blake Warboys front and centre on shot at the moment as Bradley Ratu goes up into position number 6 now. So, 6.5 minutes to go, Sam, man. You're looking at about a minute 52 lap time around here, so you're still good for 3 laps at the moment.
Yep.
If you time your run.
Yeah, that's right. I want to be in my driver's ear and say, look, stay on track. Let's keep those temperatures up. And ideally, if you can time it where you're the very last car to cross the start-finish line before the time goes to 0, then you might be in a shot with, getting the best of it, the better of these conditions. It is still raining. It's not heavy rain, but it is still raining, as you can see from our onboards. But like you said, the track's improving a little bit as far as grip. The cars are getting rid of some of that water, and these times are changing. As you can see, Ryan Jones now jumped into P4.
Yep, Jonesy up into 4th, and very nicely done, I thought, from Jonesy. And he's proven himself to be a versatile operator in recent weeks, having a crack at the GSRC Super Formula Light campaign, GT3, and a few other things. Now, of course, trying to book himself a ticket into the main dance. There's Gaderick. It's a good thing that he's the race leader at the moment, the Sud Speed entry, the qualifying session leaderboard front runner, because that lap is now null and void. But going back to Ryan Jones, very versatile operator and also a handy commentator when he's not on the racetrack, of course, trying to secure a ticket into the G Pro Invitational Series with thanks to Logitech for 2026. And on his day, he is very capable of grabbing a golden ticket over the next 3 weeks. Will the weather and all the other circumstances fall into place and align for him tonight? Stay with us over the 45-lap journey to find out. Here's Ryan Campbell. Can he improve on 1 minute 52.935? No, not that time through. And he remains in position number 5 with 4.5 minutes to go.
Jordan Mazzaroli, he's on screen at the moment, trying to improve. So back in 13th at the moment. What have we got? 4 minutes to go. So the pressure will start being put on these guys now. Again, I'm looking down the board. I'm looking for Jake Burton. I don't know if I've quickly skipped over him or what, but I can't see him. Yeah,
22nd.
Yeah, look, that's not ideal. Jake was so close to making it in last week. He had amazing pace. Ryan Jones now top of the leaderboard, so 52.71. But Jake was very quick last week and unfortunately just missed out, and he'll have his work cut up for him back in 22nd at the moment. So not only, as we touched on, it's all the difficulty of having 20 of your best mates around you, but it's that visibility you've got to be chasing at the start that could catch him out, because although he might be having a great race, there could be someone that having drama in front of him and you may not see it.
I'm really glad I didn't put the Mozza on Jonesy just quietly. Now, Riley Bilson's picked himself up a 10-second penalty in race, so that'll be a 10-second penalty at the first pit stop for impeding car number 012. So that's not a good start to Bilson's night. Kurt Stenberg on screen at the moment there in 33rd. Go down towards the back of the train, though, Sam, man. Teo Serrano's just ahead of Kurt. Jamie Dyke is 35th. Russell Pepperell is there in 36th. Damien Johnston, Riley Bilson, Roz Frizzo, William Brown, Brad Newman, who set the first lap of the session, I should say, first flying lap of the session, and Aaron Borg and Ryan Bettis are making up this field at the moment. So some heavyweights right down there, outside the top 30, outside the top 40, maybe hoping for a miracle and being able to cut their way through the field in dry conditions in the race. But by gee, it's a long way around here when you're buried in the pack for 45 laps.
Yeah, and look, obviously the conditions aren't suiting these guys if they're that far back. So, yeah, you're exactly right. What they're doing is just making the most of the situation they've got at hand. They know they've got 45 laps to improve on it. And what are we going to see? There's so many variables come race start because, you know, we didn't even get to turn 1 before we had drama at Mosport, and all that took was, Steve Walker just getting a little bit sideways.
Wayne Walker.
You know, someone stalled their car and that caused big dramas. So there's a likelihood we're going to see safety cars and so many different things that play out for these drivers. So yes, it's easier when you're starting up front, but the race isn't over. As long as you start, that's the main thing.
There's Blake Warboys. Now we go back to Lachlan Capel. Capel making his way through out of the arena section of the circuit. Now on the way down to the stadium section. We've got a TTR car parked up, drivers left on the exit of the arena section. That was Aaron Borg, so no wonder he's buried that far down the order when he's not able to get a clean lap in. 1 minute 18 to go. Last roll of the dice coming up for all these would-be contenders. Tice Hodges just gone to 13th on the leaderboard. Ryan Jones, Dennis Gaderick, Blake Warboys, Ryan O'Sullivan, Wayne Walker, your current top 5. Jonesy's pole margin advantage is .033. 56 seconds to play in qualifying for round 2 of the qualifying series for 26.
Lachlan Capel, he's now moved inside the top 10. Now, Philippa's dropped back a little bit, but she was up there or thereabouts earlier in this session, so still coming to grips with this race car. It's not her background and her DNA as far as running supercars, but great to see her in the championship at the moment. So P13, I think she'll be pretty happy with that considering the conditions that she's in at the moment.
Looking to emulate the feats of one Emily Jones, I guess, when it comes to taking it to the boys in this series, Sam, man?
Absolutely. Emily's such a great steerer, and she's a great part of TTR, and just her driving and the feedback that she gives as far as car setup and everything else, it's brilliant. And yeah, it'd be great to see Philippa in the series as well. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that she makes it inside the cutoff and we see her come full-time throughout the season. But there's Barney waving the checkered flag. That's the session over.
Checkered flag flies in Germany. Final roll of the dice. Let's see who can make and break it. Who's going to improve and who's going to have to be content with where they're currently stuck in this leaderboard. Across the line we go. Chris Ireland trying to improve on 31st. Jake Burton in 29th. Last roll of the dice for the man that currently leads the points race.
11th.
And up to 11th. What a way to finish the session for Burton. Chris Ireland also improved to 22nd. That info didn't roll through immediately on your screen there, ladies and gentlemen. I had to go scrolling looking for him. Here's Tommy Freer in 12th at the moment. What can he do? Last roll of the dice. No improvement. Actually, no, slightest improvement from him in terms of time, but not position. He stays 12th. Brodie Sentence in 20th at the moment. Needs a better run than what he had last week. Needs a win more than anything. Jamie Dyke 37th. He would love to get up inside the top 20 at best. But even the top 30 is an improvement on where he is right now. Main straight, struggling to get it off the final corner. Across the line he goes. No improvement from Dyke. Wayne Walker and Rain Campbell are going to share the third row of the grid.
Oh.
And Hayden Veld with the last roll of the dice. Hayden Veld has put 0.087 on Ryan Jones and displaced Jonesy from a would-be pole position. Unbelievable. And John Mazzaroli towards the back end of the section there as well has crossed the line with not a hell of a lot of improvement, it must be said. And there is Hayden Veld celebrating, and rightly so. Hayden Veld, car number 53. 1 minute 52.584. Scott Gamble, 34th position at the moment. He's probably the last one to come home to the checkered flag here. And in fact, it's done. It is all done. Hayden Veld, Ryan Jones, Dennis Gaderick, Blake Warboys, Ryan O'Sullivan and Wayne Walker are the top 3 rows on the grid. And Hayden Veld has found something for Eclipse on the final lap of the session. Unbelievable.
How good was that? My prediction came true, mate. I said you wanted to be there or thereabouts, maybe the last car crossing the start-finish line to start your lap, and he was almost that last car. So capitalise on it and grabs pole position. Massive congratulations to Hayden Veld. You can see how pumped he was by the camera. That was so cool.
We've got a few of our competitors about to come and have a chat to us, but let's roll through this grid and have a look at it for you, ladies and gentlemen. Hayden Veld and Ryan Jones, Eclipse Sim Sport and DPR Racing on the front row of this grid. From the second row, Dennis Gaderick for Synergy Sim Racing and Blake Warboys for the Warboys Motorsport and WKMP Sim Sport stable. They will share the second row, but I'm going to be interested to see how true to form this form guide is once we get through 45 laps in variable conditions. Ryan O'Sullivan for ERT and Accelerate Sim Racing's Wayne Walker make up the third row of the grid, and so far there's been no repeats. So that's 6 different teams, make it 7 in the top 7 with Ryan Campbell for Vermilion and Orbit Drop Bear's Sam Blacklock making up position number 8. Have a look at the fine margins as well. Less than 0.4 of a second covered the top 4 rows on this grid. In fact, top 5 rows on this grid. 9th was Brian Borg and 10th was Bradley Ratu, Racecraft Simulations and Orbit Drop Bear. Sandman, take us through 11 to 20.
Yeah, we'll go through the rest of the field. Lachlan Capel back in 11th place for Orbit Drop Bear Motorsports. And Jake Burton, who's got his work cut out for him from P12, a lot better than what we thought he had. He was 29th there in the dying seconds, so he jumped up a couple of spots there. As we just let our graphics sort out what we got. Brian Borg saying 9th and then Brad Ratu in 10th. But that's okay. There we go. So Tom Freer in 13th, Jack Whittis in 14th position. So the further we go down, the visibility for these guys and girls at the start. And speaking of girls, is Philippa. She's in 15th and Tice Hodge in 16th. The visibility is going to be insane back here.
Oh, yeah.
William Sapstead
Indeed it is.
in 17th. And then in 18th, Jordan Mazzaroli. In 19th, James is, he's, mate, I don't know. You want to be inside that top 20, but with James and Brody back there on that 19th and 20th, that's, again, the visibility at the start of this race is going to be insane.
Going to be hard for any of these guys outside the top 20 to push their way in, but Rick Kuznetsov will give it a good shake. There's no doubt about that. And Chris Islands alongside him on row number 11. Will Buchanan on row 12 alongside Daniel Poulton for OPR. The 13th row will consist of the following 2 drivers. Russell Pepperell from across the ditch from Trent Tasman Racing, and then, of course, Marcelo Rivera, who can only go forwards based on what we saw last week. He can't have a worse week possible than what we saw last week at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Zach Kerr and Angus Lawford are row number 14. Making up the top 30 will be Joshua Horton for Vermilion Esports and, of course, Dylan Pereira for Synergy Sim Racing. But the field continues, Sam, man.
Yeah, Blake Fitz in 31st. Kurt Stenberg, he's got his work cut out for him in the TTR Energy Chevrolet, so back in 32nd. Billy Mole in 33rd and Scotty Campbell back in 34th position. As we check out the tail end, there's now Teo Serrano in 35th. Willem Brown in 36th. And then Jamie Dyke in 37th for Fishy Motorsports and Ross Rizzo, another of the TTR runners, in 38th position. Riley Bilson in 39th and Damien Johnston in 40th. Ryan Betts in 41st. Brad Newman.
That's row 21, Sam Mann, and poor old Aaron Borg is there to bring up the tail of the field and will do so from position number 43. So in his case, the only way is forward. Hayden Veld halfway through having a conversation with Tom Freer in the waiting room. Had no idea that he'd just been dragged into the booth to have a chat with us, but we will have a chat with him. Hayden, Sam Mann said it in qualifying as we launch into the grid walk here, of course, with thanks to the great people at OG Gear and the Gamesman, and all the other great supporting partners of the Logitech V8 Pro Invitational Series. Hayden's yet to join us on the grid. That's because he's in the waiting room having a chat with us in the commentary box. Mate, good evening to you. There he is, flying in at the last second there. Terrific performance in qualifying, mate. Saved the best until last. The reward is pole position and clear air on a drying track. You couldn't ask for more than that.
Yeah, wasn't looking too good for a while. I was buried a little bit, but no, it ended up good in the end. Yeah, hopefully we can stay here. It'd be quite ideal because I've heard a couple of times that it's a win-in you're in situation, so it'd be quite nice to do that. But no, we'll see what we can do.
And considering that you're 18th at the moment, yes, you're in at least as far as that ticket allocation is concerned, but you're not safe. A win would secure that safety. There's no doubt about that. We can see a little bit of rain falling here, so it looks like we're going to have a wet start, mate. Your thoughts on how the track played out during practice and then that drop off where it went from wet to starting to dry up and then became, saturated in water again, and then it started to dry off. It looks like it's going to be that sort of night where it's going to be on and off. That's going to keep you guys on your toes.
Yeah, practice was weird as like track was getting good and then it sort of slowed up a fair bit, and then went to this weird state and they got like sort of quick again and ended up being like a couple of us put on the slicks at the end. And I'm like, yeah, meant this will actually be pretty cool. And then qualifying starts and it's raining. I'm like, gotta put the wets back on it now. But yeah, it looks like the race will probably be similar. Looks pretty similar. So we'll see how that plans out. Probably gonna change the tyres. I got on the vehicle now. But yeah.
Well, I was just about to ask you, what is the plan of attack from the outset here? Do you think it's going to be wets or dries from the start?
I'm going to say probably wets. It's what I was changing before. It's hence why I wasn't on the grid. I was just going through the document there. But yeah, it's hard to say. Probably change during the race and yeah.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. We might let you go and focus on the task at hand, and hopefully we're having a chat to you in a couple of hours from now.
Uru.
There he is, Hayden Vella. Brilliant. Couldn't get out of here fast enough. Right next to him in the points race at the moment, Sandman, and on the bubble as far as this championship situation is concerned. Not a bad run for him in qualifying, though. He's starting right where he wants to as far as not being buried in the pack is concerned. Solid effort in qualifying. Will 13 be a lucky number for Tom Free tonight? Let's hear from him now with Sandman Stephen Clark.
Yeah, g'day, Tom, mate. P13, not ideal, but not horrible at the same time, and you're on the bubble, which is the main thing. How are you feeling about the race start here? A little bit wet still?
Yeah, pretty nervous. I've started back here before and it doesn't usually end well for me, so we'll see what happens. At the end of that, it's my fault. I had a pretty good opportunity to be right at pointy end, but yeah, made a pretty big meal of my last lap. But I don't know, 13th, it's not too bad. Probably shouldn't be on the bubble either because I didn't keep my head at my spot and put someone in the fence, which is why we're back there, but it is what it is.
Mate, still plenty of time to turn it round, and I think we might be lucky enough if this rain stays away. This track will just improve as the race goes on, so hopefully that spray starts to dissipate at the start for you. You've got a bit of visibility and no one has any whoopsies in front of you. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I hope so. I wouldn't mind it drying out. We've got a pretty fast sword speed tomorrow, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Obviously, if it dries out, I think it'll be quite a good race. If it's wet, I think it's just going to be crash avoidance and staying out of trouble. But yeah, hopefully a clean race for everyone.
Now, as Jay pans his camera around with the car, we're just having a look. What have we got on? So we got wets on, we got the wets, or we going with the slicks? What's your call? Looks like we got the wets on.
Definitely wets, I think, for the start. It's touch and go, but yeah, I'm not going to be the one in the fence at the hairpin, hopefully.
All right, mate, we're almost going to go green. We're going to go let you focus. Mate, thanks for the chat. Good luck tonight, and hopefully your points are looking much better as we leave Hockenheim Ring, getting ready for round 3. So all the best. Thanks for having a chat with us.
I hope so. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Tom. There you go. Zach, Tom's ready to go.
And so are we, mate. Is it too difficult an assignment to land a prediction from you for this one?
Mate, there's so many variables. I think there's going to be some drivers that might get caught out by the conditions. And so, yeah, I'm not a brave man to pick anyone just yet. I did roll the dice and say Jake Burton last week, and that seemed like a pretty easy odds, as quick as he was in practice and qualifying. But I'll go with Jake again. He's back in P12. Let's see if he can bounce back.
There's the assignment for you, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's ahead of us. 45 laps, 205 kilometres, 2 compulsory pit stops along the way, and these cars will be filled to the brim with fuel, ready to fire. Round 2 of the series is underway. The Logitech G Pro Invitational qualifying series from the Hockenheim Ring, and you can see there's still plenty of spray to work with in the opening laps here. Plenty of moisture on the circuit. Bold decision to start on anything but wet weather tyres. Looks like everybody's on wets from what we can see, except for William Sapstead. I can see that he's on dries and there's trouble at the back. Through turn 1, the track's almost blocked. It's exactly the same as what we saw at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park last week, except a few hundred metres up the road. Marcelo
See, Rob?
Rivera involved in his second major incident in as many weeks.
He's done.
Unbelievable.
He's done. Well,
And Riley
He's got so
Bilson
much
was
damage,
also
you can
on
see how
drives
much
as well.
grabbing.
It's important to note there, man.
yeah, no, that definitely not the tyre to be on. You can see the conditions and the amount of spray that's
Trouble.
coming. Oh, into the hairpin! Someone's locked it up. There's big drama there. We said that was going to be happening. Oh, now it's just nose to tail. Everyone's managed to pluck a gear and get going again, but it's always the heart and mouth stuff at this start. Obviously, the tyres are cold, the track's wet, and then just missed in that sort of braking zone, and that's caused drama.
Sun trying to break through as well, Sam, man. You can see it off in the distance there. There's not much in the way of natural light to work with. It's rather dark out there at the moment. That won't be helping from a visibility perspective either. Lap 1 of 45, and already we're contending with carnage here at the Hockenheim ring. There will be some drivers making their way to pit lane on this opening lap, no doubt.
Yeah, damage to some of these cars. That's a great graphic that we've got, and that's something that we'll be keeping an eye on as this race goes on. The rain's not falling. We can see that everyone's on the wet compound tyre for the moment because you don't want to be on slicks, but they'll be thinking about that crossover point. If no more rain falls, this track's going to dry out, and then people will be thinking about those lap times and who's going to roll the dice to get to the slicks first.
Jeez, I'm not sure we can cop that much action in every other one of the 45 laps tonight. We might have just exceeded our action quota on the opening lap here at the Hockenheim ring. Extraordinary scenes. Marcelo Rivera can't take a trick at the moment. We pick up the sim speed entry, the 9 orbit drop there entry, I should say, of Lachlan Capel. And we've got a replay on board with Marcelo Rivera again. The OG gear replay as we make our way towards the first corner. Cars, he got swamped left and right. And just have a look at the lack of visibility that he's contending with there on his run to turn 1. And caught the curve, tried to get down the inside, but the trouble's going to happen to the left of him. Yep, there it is.
He was an innocent
Car's trying to take evasive action and he just got wiped out.
Yeah, that's hard to swallow. Oh, and then he gets another hit just for giggles. But yeah, it's always.
Yep.
We've seen Satsbed and Riley on slicks, because that might have been half the drama. Yep. If some of these guys started on slicks, then that's where that obviously made things a lot more difficult. So a braver person than I to be out on slicks in these conditions.
Yep, maybe just an oversight on their part as well, Sam, man. But it's those 1%ers that make all the difference in the grand scheme of things here. It's the difference between making and breaking it in the Logitech G Pro Invitational in 2026. We're on board with Bilson on those slick tyres. And look at how treacherous it's going to be for him going into turn 1. Just nothing. The brakes just did not want to cooperate with all that water underneath the slick tyres. It barely pulled up. Fastest lap of the race, however, at the front of this field for Hayden Veld, 152.952. We've barely had a chance to touch him at the front of the field, Sam, man. But he's maintained the early front running here ahead of Ryan Jones and Blake Warboys trying to squeeze down on the inside. Ryan O'Sullivan gets down on the inside of him, and Warboys slots back into position number 4. Look at the advantage for Hayden Veld already, Sam, man. It's nearly 3 seconds.
Yep, he's comfortable with these conditions. He's got clear visibility. That's another spot for Blake Warboys. Just in a matter of corners, he's dropped from 2nd to 4th. He just had a little bit of a slide when we went to that replay, but still there or thereabouts. But also on the move, Jake Burton. Oh, there's a spin there.
Trouble.
So that's
Trouble.
Ryan O'Sullivan. He's gone round. Oh, and everyone's just got to try and pick their way through it. He gets going again. I was just touching on Jake Burton, who's now moved into P6 now, thanks to O'Sullivan's spin. So here we go, and this is the replay that I was talking about. Have a look at Blake Warboys just holding onto it the best he can. We rolled to a replay, and that's where he got swamped a little bit. So the car just got away from him, but thankfully he's still there or thereabouts. Now he's only dropped 1 spot thanks to O'Sullivan's spin.
If you're a drifter, you would have been watching Blake Warboys and been in awe of that. It just looked like brilliant slick drift work, but it's being prompted and triggered by the conditions under wheel at the moment, under tyre. Have a look at this. So this is the incident for Ryan O'Sullivan on the run down to the hairpin. Oh, all on his own. All on his own.
Back. Yeah, well, he went in a little bit deep and just got into the back of, that would have been Ryan Jones, I think, at the time. So, and then the car's just got away from him, and unfortunately he's just spun. So, on board with Burton. This gives you a good indication of how this track's starting to clear up a little bit. Obviously, there's still a bit of spray, but this racing line's going to get better and better for him. And Hayden Veld, nearly 4 seconds up the road now on Ryan Jones. He'd be stoked with that.
Indeed. It's certainly going to make his night a heck of a lot easier. And he'll be able to breathe a heck of a lot easier as the race plays out, if he can stay ahead of the chasing pack and take the pressure off himself and book that golden ticket. A guy that's made a really good start is on your screen at the moment, Jake Burton. We mentioned him being outside the top 10 in qualifying. He's found his way into 6th position in only 3 1/4 laps here at the Hockenheim ring, and he's on a great tear and charge at the moment. Next target is Sam Blacklock, then Wayne Walker. The leader is 3.8 to the good. There's Tice Hodge trying to work his way into the top 10 with the ERT entry of Ryan O'Sullivan, the next target, and that's of course on the comeback trail for O'Sullivan, having been caught up in that incident that we saw on the previous lap through. Lachlan Cable now, 8th position, hounding Dennis Gaderick, but to no avail. O'Sullivan is wide again. This time in the arena section.
He was having a hard time trying to get back onto the racetrack. So the one thing I do love about these sort of conditions when you're in the commentary box is these drivers are going to be finding different lines to chase speed. So they're going to be putting their cars in different parts of the racetrack. So it's really going to get juicy, especially as these track conditions change, that where these drivers are trying to find pace, they'll be at moments of the racetrack off the ideal racing line, because that's where they can find grip when it's wet like this. But as it gets quicker and quicker, as it dries up as well, you'll really want to be on that racing line, and then it'll be tiptoe if you get a little bit wide. And that's exactly what Tice Hodge had. He had to be real careful because he was on the painted ripple strips in the wet. That's the last place you want to be.
Absolutely. You know what I like most about it, Sam, man? They're out there and we're not. They get the sweat and stress the night away. We get the easy part of the job. Well, that's what I like about it. Now, here's Kurt Stenberg under pressure on the run down towards turn number 1. He's right in the middle of a 3-4-way battle pack at the moment, chasing Zach Kerr, and he got the run off turn 1. Will he set himself up nicely for a run down the inside for turn 2? He will, but he's under pressure from Brad Newman! Brad Newman turned for the path of 1! Brilliantly done! And poor old Zach Kirk tried to get round the outside. He managed to do that. He's edged out Stenberg. So Stenberg, was trying to gain 1, has lost 1. And Brad Newman has gone +2. Move of the night so far.
Not over yet, too. Stenny can see everything that's happening in front of him. I think he was being smart about it because he didn't want to get involved in any drama. They're still battling up. Is Stenny going to go look for an inside? Doesn't want to make contact with anyone. Smart there by Stenny. So as much as he missed out on an opportunity there, he's still got a straight race car, but he's still in the thick of it too.
I love that onboard shot that we're getting with Stenberg at the moment. You might be looking at that thinking, geez, he looks a little bit tight and cramped and uncomfortable, but it works for him. And that's the thing. You've got to operate with what works best and most comfortable for you. Down towards the stadium section we go. He's 25th at the moment. He was 23rd a couple of moments ago. So it's been a difficult lap for him, but there's still a long way to go here at the Hockenheim ring. Kerr the next target, then Newman, then Angus Lawford a couple of seconds up the road beyond that. Newman, the move of the night. Ballsy this early to go for something that ambitious, but he pulled it off and did so cleanly, and that's the whole point of it. Stenberg to the inside. Yep. Yes. There he goes.
Oh, it's still not over yet.
There we go, side by side down the main straight. Oh, Stenberg. He had that pointing towards the pit wall and jagged it back. Now he'll go down the inside. Nicely done. 24th is his once more.
Good work there, Stenny. He got the job done. He was patient. He was probably a little bit frustrated. Oh, no, not another 3 wide here, surely. Stenny's going to be going, is this a dream? I've already had this one. I don't want this again. Oh, they're going to hold on. A little bit of bump and grind, but that's all right. Stenny looks like he'll hold on.
It might be a dream for someone, but it's Stenberg's nightmare at the moment. moment, I think, sit there, man. Here's Zach Kerr pushing the 018 along. Down the back straight we go. That's Jack Vidas, of course. Hard to believe we were talking about him at the pointy end of the field in qualifying at one point, and he's buried in the mid-pack right now. Oh, two-dead gone. Goodbye, Zach Kerr.
Well, that was smart heads-up driving. Obviously, he made a mistake, but what he didn't want to make contact with the back of Stenberg. So he pinched the car, or he moved the car a little bit left, and then got on the grass and hit the ripple strip and then couldn't pull it up. So what could have been a massive penalty and turning Kirk Stenberg around, he actually got away with it, sacrificed himself, but hasn't got a penalty, so he lives to fight another day.
We're on lap 6 and we haven't seen the safety car yet. That's an achievement given the conditions that we're contending with here, ladies and gentlemen. Well done to all and sundry. Yes, there's been a couple of incidents so far, but no call of the safety car being required to neutralise the field just yet. Marcelo Rivera confirmed as the first retirement of the night, ladies and gentlemen. That's unfortunate for him. Bilson Sapstead and Damien Johnston have also visited the pit lane. They're back out there. We've still got 42 runners at the Hockenheim ring.
It's tough for Marcelo. He's now at a point where a pressure cooker situation where he has to win. He literally has to win now. So, yeah, that's obviously race controls. They've got a 5-second penalty there for Damien Johnston. So that was contact with Ross Rizzo.
And Jamie Dyke and Bradley Ratu have gone early. Read their first pit stop of the night too, it would seem. Lap 7 of 45, still 38 to go. But if you've got to do 2 stops, Sam, man, and you're in the window to do it, why not try and get some clear air, especially in these conditions?
Yeah, well, they're hoping that what will happen is that they'll run that wet tyre now because obviously you're still ready for a wet. But they're hoping that by the time it comes round for their next pit stop, it'll be that perfect time to put on a set of slicks. So that's what they're thinking. That's what their game plan is. But we don't know what Mother Nature's got in store. We think it's not going to rain anymore by the look of the skies. And so they're betting that this track will probably dry up and it'll be perfect time to switch to slicks.
I really can't believe that we waited all year last year to see precipitation in the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series, and yet we've got it second up, and we're not even out of January yet in 2026. There is still a 15% chance of rain in about 45 minutes. This race is going to take a lot longer than 45 minutes to wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, given the current speeds. We're in the 1 minute 50s at the moment, so 1 minute 52. Let's say that's 6 laps every 11 minutes or so. Forgive me, maths is not my strong point, but if we're working on that notion, right, 24 laps time, 32, 33 laps is where we'll be at, and therefore a 15% chance of rain just as we're edging into the final 25% of the race. So you're saying there's a chance, it's a slim chance, but it ain't over yet. We're not out of the woods just yet as far as completely being able to call this a dry race from here is concerned. And that's the point as well. Oh, wide at turn 1. That's Angus Lawford's going to go up in 22nd as a result of that, Brad Newman. Also up in the 21st, the would-be stranded car on the outside there was Philippa Boquita as well. So she bowled it wide. The other 2 beneficiaries of that, Brodie Sentence up into 14th. Good run from him so far. Current championship standings have Blake Warboys on top. Jake Burton, Sam Blacklock, Ryan Jones and Rilo Sullivan would be your top 5 if things were to finish as they currently stand. But we're a long way from being able to give you any sort of confirmation on that. Of course, Jack Vidas has been handed a black flag as well, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Gamble finds himself in the pit lane. Oh, Sam, man, you love your cricket as much as I do. As Bill Laurie would say, it's all happening in Hockenheim.
Absolutely, and it's only lap 8 of 45, so we're going to see so much play out over the next few laps as people just still coming to grips with the way this racetrack is. You can see it in the background, people just struggling for traction, and it's one of those things, isn't it? You want to get the power down as quick as you can. You want to be as late as you can be on the brakes as well, but you've really got to look after it in these conditions. It's so tricky, and you can lose so much more than there is to gain the way this track is at the moment. As we look at, we're on board with Wayne Walker, looking back to Sam Blacklock, and right behind him is Jake Burton. So what he needs to do is make sure his eyes forward, because if you start concentrating on what's behind him, it might be easy to make a little mistake. Fastest lap of the race so far from Wayne Walker. So he's really taken it to the boys.
that Jack Vettis penalty for contact with Bradley Ratu from what we can ascertain there. Wayne Walker is who you're looking at the moment, looking back to the car in 5th place. Also from the Orbit Drop Bear stable, of course, that's Sam Blacklock. Blacklock, no stranger to these supercars. He loves them. He would love nothing more than to book his ticket into the G Pro Invitational for this season. And we're just getting some word through from our commentary position as well, and I appreciate Jay Kennedy chiming in here, that Wayne Walker is currently leading the V8 Vets Championship at the moment. So the old and the new, it would seem here, Sam Man, trying to get into the biggest V8 supercar championship in the sim world in this country for 2026, and Wayne is holding himself very well at the moment in 4th.
Absolutely. A lot of great talent. I can't take my name out of that list, but so many great drivers. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Was that Stenny in the thick of it here? Fitz as well. The Vet Series is brilliant. There's so many good drivers in there. Great to see him having a crack here. But Stenberg, he is right in the thick of it. A little bit of nose to tail. And now trying to chase a little bit of grip offline there.
The point that I want to make as well, mate, I know we've been a little bit sidetracked with everything that's going on tonight, and it's very hard to have a fluid conversation when everything's changing as rapidly as it is on the racetrack. But what we don't know, what we can't yet wrap our head around, is how quickly this track is going to dry out. And there's a few different factors that will drive that process, notably the amount of cars that are out there trying to clear the moisture, but also the temperature above and overhead and on the surface as well. All of that plays a small role, and as you can see there, it's very cold. 18 ambient, 17 on track. Remember, it's still winter in Germany, so those conditions, it's going to take a while, I think, to clear the standing water and get to a point where dries are going to be the prominent tyre to be on.
Yeah, and that's why some of these other drivers have rolled the dice and played that pit stop first. Like we touched on, you do need to make 2 stops in this race, so do one where you're going to absolutely bolt on a set of wets, and then hopefully you're in a position where the track's changing. Oh, a little bit of a slide there. Did Wayne Walker lose a position? Looks like Sam Blacklock was going to almost try and get past him. He was trying to get the power down. No, he managed to hold on to it. So well done, Wayne Walker. But there's going to be a crossover point, and everyone's going to be watching the stopwatch as far as these times. And when they see it plummet, that's when they'll start thinking about the slicks.
Far less prominent puddles on this circuit than what there was a few moments ago. Burtoned around the inside. He was on the outside. He's now on the inside. He's locking horns and running puddles with Sam Blacklock on the run to the stadium section. But Burton will go to 5th with a bit of forceful, aggressive driving. That's the way you work your way to the front of the field.
Oh, he's got to hold on to it. Jake's got to run a little bit wide. Oh, he's got to be also careful that Sam Blacklock doesn't want to get to the back of him. So, hey, he's had some advice there from Harry Hogg, who Rubbin's racing. So these boys just getting into it a little bit. And Jake has now got the job done on Sam, and he's trying to do eyes forward and chase down Wayne Walker in 4th.
Lap 11 of 45, and across the start line we go. The OG Gear replay illustrates it for you. This was the move, and this is where the orientations of it were, I guess, ladies and gentlemen. That was very nicely done. He got the job done at the arena section, but then ran it wide. That allowed Blacklock to get the run. There's the touch. There's the second bump and rub. There's the third.
3, 4. Yeah.
But again, it's one of those circuits where you can get that initial overtake done, but you can't consolidate it for another 2 or 3 corners, such as the flow and the possibility for the switchbacks and the up and unders to play out, Sam, man. And that was beautifully illustrated by the 2 gentlemen just there. And great, door-to-door racing, and that's what we love about this series.
Yeah, that's right. Sam, obviously, it was part of the TTR fold a number of years ago, so they're no stranger to each other.
Rhino Sullivan. I think Rhino Sullivan on pit road, or is he just dropping down the order? He's got it. Oh, no. Tech issue for Rhino Sullivan. Would you believe that? Another would-be contender bites the dust.
Oh, no.
I fully understand if it was Monday night in this part of the world, because we had as my audience over on the gents will know, we had a power outage here for 4 hours, and that ruled me out of the second half of our broadcast on Monday night. But there's no storms around tonight. There's no heat wave around today in southeast Queensland. And by heat wave, I mean anything over 40 degrees. We're used to high 30s, but yeah, that's an unexplained tech issue for Ryan O'Sullivan. No further action for the incident between cars 3 and 38. Brad Newman, of course, car number 3. And car number 38 was Bradley Ratsu. No further action for those guys. Bradley stuck in 36th at the moment. Ryan O'Sullivan driving from the server. Riley Bilson's 3 laps down. Marcelo Rivera, the first to confirm retirement of the race. And Ryan O'Sullivan's about to be the second. Ryan Jones and Blake Warboys there, second and third. That unfortunately puts Ryan O'Sullivan in that win it or bin it situation as well. Sam Mangees, the next 2 weeks, Imola and the Red Bull Ring, they are going to be cutthroat, because the closer we get to the cut-off, which is the end of the Red Bull Ring, the higher the stakes get. Therefore, the intensity, the pressure, everything lifts with that. And Ryan O'Sullivan's a guy that you want to see on the main grid. But now, to ensure that he is, he's going to have to win one of these remaining 2 races.
Yeah, it hurts when you get taken out. And I jokingly say that in sim sport, it's in esports, it's our 20-cent part. You know, if you fall out of the server or the internet has a little hiccup or whatever the case may be, that's our 20-cent part from motor racing that we just have no control of whatsoever. So yeah, it's a shame, but you're right, it really puts the pressure on him for next week.
You and I are one of the same, mate. I usually refer to it as the mechanical, the technical issues that we have and the mechanical issues of the sim world. That's the best way to describe it to everybody, to give you that real life to sim world comparison. They are our mechanical issues, are our tech faults, unfortunately. And technology, for everything it's given us, is still not perfect. Blake Warboys there in third at the moment, so the stakes have lifted at the front of the field as well. They're not going to catch Hayden Veld. He's in a different postcode at the moment. 5 seconds good on Ryan Jones, who's under tremendous pressure here from Blake Warboys. So yet again, 3 different teams fighting it out in the top 3.
Great to see Blake Warboys has got that camera so we can see him attack in the back here of Ryan Jones. I love it. I love watching the drivers up on the wheel, and good to see a little bit of professionalism too. He's got the team shirt going, so I love that teams have got their own sort of race wear and team shirts. I reckon that's a great thing to have, and huge shout out to Blake and everyone who gives us these live camera feeds, because it just adds that little bit of element to our sim sport, and I love it. So great to see.
Indeed it is. Let's go and pick up the battle between Will Buchanan and Rick Kuznetsov. And also Brad Newman down on the inside. Gets by Buchanan nicely. But by gee, Newman's been the big sender in this field this evening, hasn't he? Some big moves pulled off so far. And have a look at how much progress he's made throughout the course of the night. Up 27 positions already. Biggest mover on the racetrack right now, and still a bit of work to do.
Hello,
from 42nd, 42nd, if you don't mind, Sam, man, up to 15th. It's extraordinary.
Make it 14th, because he's going to get up the inside here. Rick, possibly. He's got really good pace in his car at the moment. No, he thinks better of it. He wants to find another day. Doesn't mean that he won't maybe stick it up the inside or the outside of this next corner, but he's looking very comfortable, and that's exactly what he does. So put another one, chalk another one up on the board for him. He's really happy in these conditions.
Josh Horton's been given a 10-second invoice. The penalty for the contact with Blake Fitz is 10 seconds. Blake Fitz sitting 22nd at the moment as well, for context. So, yeah, there's been a few guys that have fallen foul of the wrath of the officials so far this evening. But smooth running for the guys at the front end of this field. Hayden Veld, Ryan Jones, Blake Warboys, Wayne Walker and Jake Burton, the top 5. Sam Blacklock, Lachlan Cable, 6th and 7th. We've got our eyes on Will Buchanan. William Sapstead's on pit lane. We're on lap 14 of 45.
We go,
Down the inside.
Make a move, yep. So this will be another one. A good heads up there from Wayne Walker. He just sort of gave Jake the room. They're going to find it out a little bit here, but Jake's on the outside.
Yeah.
He'll have a little bit more confidence and pace. Yeah, and Blacklock will try and follow him through, but Wayne Walker, He's going to try and capitalise, maybe a little bit off the draft here in front of him to Jake Burton, but now it's going to come into the braking zone. So a battle of the brake pedals. Sam Blacklock's going to be pretty happy with his positioning at the moment, and he will get Wayne Walker there. So, but he's not giving up. There's Wayne. Good driving by all three.
Blacklock trying to get the run off the hairpin as well to try and set himself up on the TTR entry of Jake Burton. He's consolidated with Walker, sealed fifth for the moment. Walker relegated to sixth. Lachlan Capel is seventh. Blacklock still chasing Burton, but Burton comfortable in fourth for the moment. The problem they've got, boys, is they're 1.7 seconds behind the next battle pack, which is Blake Warboys and Ryan Jones. It's a big margin this early in the piece. Hayden Veld's advantage at the front, still 5.2 seconds. So it's one-way traffic for the pole sitter at the moment. That final lap of qualifying may well be the power play of the night, Sam, man, if it continues like this.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And in wet conditions, I always feel that if you've got a 1 point, so let's say it's a 1.5 second gap between the car, between you and the next car. In the wet conditions, it almost feels like 3 seconds because you just don't have that confidence and grip that you normally have in the dry. So I always feel it's sort of a double-edged sword that, yeah, it looks closer than it really is, because to try and make that ground up in these conditions, it's just that little bit tougher. But the way it's all playing out, Jake's obviously happy with himself at the moment into P4, a little bit of clear racetrack, and he's already opened up that little bit of margin between Blacklock. And this is what he wants to see in his mirror. He wants to see Wayne Walker and Sam Blacklock still battling out with each other, because this will trip them up a little bit, and Jake will be able to just get down the road a tad.
Yep, give himself a little bit of breathing space to work with, and that can be so beneficial to him at this point of the race. An inch is as good as a mile right here and now. Track not rapidly drying out or deteriorating in favour of that switch over from wet to dry tyres just yet, ladies and gentlemen. Still puddles being kicked up by the race cars as they drive over various portions of the racetrack bitumen right now, and it's going to be a while until that mist that's being kicked up by the race cars is substantially less than what it is per car. We won't be entertaining the idea of a crossover to the slick compounds just yet, and have a look at them slipping and sliding off the hairpin. Rick Kuznetsov 16th at the moment, and doing a nice job of it, chasing Will Buchanan. He's got Russell Pepperell there for company in 17th, and Daniel Poulton's not too far away either, but that also adds then to the mix Jordan Mazzaroli and Angus Lawford. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars all fighting for one position, and that is position number 15 at the moment. Will Buchanan just edging clear of Rick Kuznetsov. He's got about 9/10 of a second to the good there. So Buchanan in 15th at the moment, and that's probably a good place to be, Sam, man, as Blake Warboys comes to pit lane, first of his 2 pit stops. Probably a good place to be, that top 15, because you're going to get enough points to give yourself some leverage to work with should you have a bad run and finish outside the top 20 in the next couple of weeks. At least you can fall back on, hopefully for your sake, the points that you've accumulated over the first couple of weeks if you've had a good enough run.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And here we go. We're going to go to a replay, the OGQ replay. This is Philippa Paquita. They're just battling, trying to get around the outside. Lawford, she's just run a little bit wide. Got caught out by the conditions there. Thankfully didn't touch the barrier on the outside, and just brings back a little bit of marbles on the racetrack, but still lives to fight another day. But so easy to do in these conditions. And Burton's lost a spot.
Blacklock's got back by Burton, yeah. And very nicely done too. So these two are going to continue to have at it as the race plays out. Burton's made a mistake on the OG gear replay coming down to the hairpin. You're going to see it on your screen now. A little bit too deep into the braking zone. Runs it wide off the racetrack. So easily done, particularly in these conditions. There was contact on the exit as well with Wayne Walker. Now, the rejoin will be looked at.
Yeah, the officials will look at that for that rejoin. So as much as I picked Jake for possibly getting the win tonight, they will definitely look at that rejoin. It's a tricky part of the racetrack because obviously Wayne would have been already on the brakes. And so here we go. This is the OG gear replay on top of Walker. Burton tries to rejoin. Bang. Oh, the officials are going to look at that. Looks like the left front may be punched in. It is. Oh dear. Oh dear. So we talked about Jake missing out and having a bit of bad luck last week, just missing out ever so much and not taking the win last week. Still in a good points position, and he's at P4 at the moment, but I think the team with race control will be looking at that one.
Indeed, across the line we go. Brian Borg to pit lane. Will Buchanan, the beneficiary of that, goes to 14th. Kuznetsov, Pepperell, all moving up the field now. As Brian Borg transits the lane for the first time tonight, we pick up Jake Burton again. Still in pursuit of Sam Blacklock. Ryan Jones enjoying some breathing space in second at the moment. And of course, we're still waiting to see what the corrected order looks like, where Blake Warboys squeezes back in to the fold here. But Hayden Veld, catch me if you can, out to 7 seconds on Ryan Jones right now. Warboys sits there 13th. Now, he's the best placed by far and away of anyone that's stopped already. But it's only about maybe a quarter of the field that has already stopped, Sam, man. I'm looking at the leaderboard here, and you've got to go back outside the top 30 to see most of those who have stopped. Only 3 cars in the top 30 have transited the lane so far.
Yeah, they're looking for this crossover point for the racetrack. That's what they're doing. I think for me, as this race goes on, I probably would have gambled and thrown one set of wets on and then probably be right at the point for the crossover with the slicks. But that probably says a lot for why I'm in a commentary box and not in a race car. So who knows? But look, at the end of the day, they are all rolling the dice, and no one's done anything wrong at this stage. There's still a lot to play out. Lap 18 of 45, and this track is obviously getting faster and faster each lap.
Oh, look at the right in the very bottom left of your screen there, ladies and gentlemen. That tiniest smudge of blue, that is precipitation. And it's coming from, well, what's that, the southwest. So it's heading northeast. It's coming from the southwest, is the precipitation. There's green on the very back of it. So that's not light rain if it arrives at circuit. That I think there might be a little bit more than a 15% chance now, Sam. It's just a matter of how quickly that is progressing.
Yeah, so by the time, well, that's exactly right, and how fast it's going to track to the racetrack where we are at the moment. So I guess that's what teams are doing. They're monitoring that, because at the end of the day, if you roll the dice and the track gets to a point where it's good for slicks, no,
Jake Burton, 5-second penalty.
Yep, I had a feeling. Unfortunately, when I saw that, he was going to get looked at by the stewards, and he's got himself that 5-second penalty. Exactly what you said there, Zach. So, look, not night over. We saw that the likes of Robbie Gibbs still go on and win last week with a 5-second penalty. So we got the OG Gear replay. Oh, and this is Sam Blacklock. He's just had a moment, and that's exactly where. No, that's the hairpin. Yeah, that's where Burton had his dramas as well.
Yep.
So
exactly.
So easy to do. So easy to do.
I guess the biggest problem that you've got there as well, Sam, man, is the deficit. So the only thing that eradicates the deficit that that Jake Burton and everybody else has to Hayden Veld at the moment is a safety car, right? We're not wishing that upon the race. This is lively enough without bunching the field back up again, NASCAR style. We don't necessarily need that right now. Hayden Veld's just taken us into the 51s, fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 51.744. Wayne Walker's come to pit lane to no doubt have a look at any damage that he might have sustained from that bump and rub with Hayden Veld. Tice Hodge, the beneficiary of that, moving up through the field right now. Rain Campbell, the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 51.732. So all that information's rolling through very nicely, right? Hayden Veld's advantage to Jake Burton is 10.1 seconds. So it's essentially 15.1 seconds now. So I think we're almost putting a line through Jake Burton being a race winner tonight, unless something drastically changes in how this race is playing out between now and the checkered flag. But the way things sit, you're almost putting a white line through Jake Burton and saying, look, continue to lead the points table in this qualifying series. Try and book your golden ticket next week. If not, rely upon points the week after.
Well, the thing that I'm getting notices is all these faster slaps that people are getting at the moment. Yeah. So Ryan Borg now. So this track is improving. So you say that there's maybe a bit of a chance that Jake Burton won't take this win, but if he's the first one to slicks and he's out there for a lap or two at the right time and everyone else is still on wets, he'll make up that 5 seconds, no problems whatsoever. So he'll make that possibly in one lap, just depending on if he makes the right call. It's obviously too hard to call at this stage, but we are seeing the track improve. Brian Borg back in 28th, the fastest car on track at the moment. So, and these are on some of these drivers. We saw Hayden Veld punch out. He did his on 18-lap-old tyres.
Have we got to the point of crossover yet? Is what I'm wondering. The circuit on our timing screen, ladies and gentlemen, track wetness says very lightly wet. That's usually that point where you start entertaining the idea of switching tyre compounds. Burton down the inside of Blacklock and gets it done. Third on track, but not on corrected order at the moment.
Yeah. So Burton made a great move there to the back of Blacklock, and then Blacklock made a little bit of a wide bowl, and Burton was able to snuffle that up. So more cars in the lane. Russell Pepperell. So interesting to see if is he going to roll the dice and put slicks on. I don't know.
We're getting intel that Burton's going to be pitting this lap, so keep an eye out for Burton to be pitting this lap. Now, no doubt that's his team giving race control the heads up that he's coming into the pit lane this lap, so they can observe that he is observing his 5-second stop and hold. And then he'll be able to be clear of that and play on back out there on the racetrack. Believe it or not, we're not even at halfway yet. It's only lap 20. We've got to get to halfway through lap 23 to be at halfway. There's still a lot to play out here. We're almost at that point where you start entertaining the idea of dry tyres. Almost. But then, are we going to have another crossover phase later in the race? Ryan O'Sullivan, fastest start of the race now as well. Back in the race with the internet dropout sorted. That's what I've always said about this part of the world. It's amazing, isn't it? First world country, third world internet, and then you go out to regional Queensland and it's fourth world. Poor old Ryan O'Sullivan, subject to the internet gods and the powers that be with regards to working when they want to, right here and now. Jake Burton to pit lane. It was a bit of a skirmish on the run into pit lane. Rain Campbell, we're being told something's going on there. He's in 8th place at the moment, so we need to keep an eye on that.
No? I don't know what Rain's on
this
there.
This is the stadium section. Oh, car stopped.
Oh.
Live, bottom of first shot, bottom right of screen there. Will Buchanan's pulled up in the gravel and, oh no, he's going to get it out of there. Thank goodness for that.
Fine. Now, this is exactly why I was stoked with Burton making his pit stop, because if he gets his pit stop and gets that 5-second penalty, he wants to get that over and done with, because if we get a safety car, it almost null and voids that 5-second penalty that he's going to get. So, thankfully for the moment, as we go to the OGG replay, it was just a spin and didn't bury it. But that would have been a killer if Burton hadn't have served that 5-second penalty, comes out and then there's a safety car. I mean, it puts your dead motherless last. So still in the lane. It's a long stop.
Don't tell me Burton's fallen foul of a stop and hold.
Oh, he's rolled the dice.
Wow.
So we're hearing that Jake Burton has gone to slick tyre. There he is. There's the graphic. So he's rolled the dice. It's going to be very sketchy. He needs to get on the racing line. That's exactly where he's at. Now, this is what I touched on. If he got on there at the right time, he can make up some quick margin. But he's got a feather it. They're cold. It's a drying racetrack. And he can't pass, because if he gets off that dry racing line, it's going to be very, very sketchy.
And it's not a very warm racetrack either. So cold tyres, cold track. And also, you're somewhat restricted by where you can drive based on what's dry and what's not. These are a very couple of importantly critical laps for Jake Burton right here and right now. Hayden Veld to pit lane, the race leader, has led all the way so far. Will relinquish the lead to complete his first transit of the lane. We're on lap 22, so next time by is halfway. And Ryan Jones has now inherited the race lead.
I think this is...
Oh, no. Okay, so So we're also now hearing that Jake Burton, it wasn't just that he was switching over to dries, ladies and gentlemen, but it was also because he and Hayden Veld's now rolled the dice on dries as well. But he also has been pinged by iRacing, not our officials, iRacing themselves. They hand out internal penalties in the service for an unsafe pit entry. He touched the green line or the green AstroTurf on the way through. That is a big no-no in this game. The invoice was 30 seconds, and that all but certainly rules Jake Burton out of business tonight.
Mate, talk about a kick while you're down. So, oh, there it is. He's turned in
Right
late,
there.
and that's exactly the moment there where he's touched the green, and iRacing have said, no, can't do that, and unfortunately he's had to serve that penalty. So that's hurt him. Although he's rolled the dice and gone with the slick tyre, unfortunately that's bit him in the backside. But look at the pace he's got. The slick tyre at the moment looks, just as I say that, he's run wide. He got off the racing line, but you can see Velder's gone to the slick tyre.
Oh.
Tom Freya has, but it hasn't worked for him. Oh, it's dicey. It's dicey at the moment as far as being on the right tyre at the right time.
Sketchy.
And if this hurts Veld, this will bring Ryan Jones and Sam Blacklock right into the fold where they may jump him.
Indeed. Just hairy moments, there's no doubt about that. And there's the 41, the sud speed entry, having its moment. Now, Ryan Jones to pit lane. Sam Blacklock, Lachlan Cape will play on. Tice Hodge as well. Tice Hodge, the fastest lap of the race. We're into the 1 minute 50s, ladies and gentlemen. 1 minute 50.572. And in ninth position now, heading into pit lane, there is Angus Lawford. And this is Chris Island on the replay, with thanks to OG. Yeah, off the road. Hold it.
He can't pull it up.
Oh, no.
Oh, and that's Stenberg that he's nailed. He was literally a passenger. He couldn't do a thing because it was so wet out there. He just couldn't pull it up. And unfortunately, lucky not to actually destroy Stenberg's car. He got away with it. Like, obviously lost a little bit of time there, but boy, oh boy, that could have been a lot uglier. Here we go. This is Stenny. Minding your own business.
3, 2, 1. Bang.
Oh, massive hit. And only lost, 3 spots.
Not the traditional way you go and introduce yourself to people, but this is motor racing, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Sam Blacklock and Lachlan Capel, how nice is the picture for that for Orbit Drop Bear at the moment? They lead the way in Germany. They are due on the pit lane any tick of the clock. Only 5 of the top 20 yet to transit the lane. And the rest of the field is cleansed. We've now passed the half race distance. Chris Island still sits on pit lane.
Look at that.
And we've got plenty of rain on the way. Have a look at that. So this race is about to liven up again, ladies and gentlemen. Strap yourself in. That at the pace at which that is moving, that's here in the next 20 laps. That's not waiting until we're done. That's not waiting until the checkered flag flies. It's on its way to wreak havoc with the final few laps of this second round of the Logitech G Pro Invitational Supercar Qualifying Series for 2026. Ryan Jones on the OG Gear replay again did well to miss the wall.
Hayden Veld, a 47. Wow. He's into the 47s. So that's shows ridiculous. He shows you that that's the tyre to be on right now. So Veld is on the slicks, and that's the tyre everyone needs to be on. The only thing it does, it makes it a little bit dicey. We've already seen a couple of cars. If you get off that racing line, you're going to have a moment. So you really need to be smart about your positioning your car and staying on that racing line, because that's the dry part of the racetrack. You get off that, and we've already seen so many dramas. Have a look at this. How lucky. He spins it so he doesn't nail the inside barrier. Look how close he gets. A cigarette paper between the bumper and the tyre barrier there. G'day, Larry. Larry's just there, the track marshal. So.
and if you freeze it there, which we did, you can see just how close Barney was to Larry was to needing a change of pants. My goodness. What about that? And the heart in the mouth moment for Ryan Jones as well. Oh my goodness. Don't go to bed just yet, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us. There's plenty to play out here in round 2 of the qualifying series. Next week, Imola, third different play-by-play lead commentator in the booth too, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, because neither Rankin or I am available next week. I'm emceeing the season launch for the Ipswich Jets Rugby League and Netball teams. Oh, trouble, gone! Who was that on the right-hand side? Ryan Jones, his second moment of the stint. And Jonesy's in all sorts of trouble now, plummeting outside the top 10. And also around the 43 of Josh Horton. Haydenveld again in the 47, Sam, man. He's found a nice little space for himself on the dry rubber that everybody else is trying to get to.
Yeah, he's loving it. 11-second margin over himself and Blake Warboys too. So he's really loving the car. Oh, there's a car backwards there too, out of shot too. Who was that? Was that Lachlan Capel? Yep,
Bang.
so Capel's now sideways. He's managed to keep it off. Yep, he's kept it off the wall. But people are just struggling to make this transition from the slicks. Oh, careful with the right point. Oh, the stewards won't like that. I know what he's doing. He's trying to get to the driest part of the racetrack. But the stewards won't like that. But thankfully, he's got away with it now. Check this out.
Have a look at this.
Jay's got very tricky with our drone cam. No chance. Have a look at that.
The great Dennis Cometti. The great Dennis Cometti would say centimetre perfect.
Perfect. That's exactly right.
Although I think it's more millimetre perfect in this ridiculous scenario. Have a look at the wheel marks there, ladies and gentlemen. Go and buy yourself a lottery ticket, Jonesy, for goodness sake. Oh, have a look at the damage on Jonesy's car now as a result of the second point of impact that he's had this evening. Not the first incident, but the second one. And he's in all sorts of trouble now.
Yeah. That front end is really giving him grief. So
his hopes are dashed.
Oh,
and Lachlan Capel now. Same area that Jonesy ran into trouble, by the way.
He's really struggling to get these tyres up. And what's happening, he's getting on the wet part of the racetrack, and then whatever temperature he's able to get into those slicks, he's losing that temperature as soon as he touches the wets too. So he got away with it though.
Got away with it, but as we said, once you've got the water on those slick tyres, pulling up is a mission and a half. Good luck to you. Dan Hall, loving the drone shot. Hello to you, good sir. The great man from Logitech.
Yeah, Burton trying his absolute best here to capitalise on those. Obviously, that penalty from race control, but also the penalty from iRacing as Tice Hodges, the first car into the 46s now.
Yep, good pickup, Sam, man. So the times continue to plummet.
This is tricky. He wants to get the pass done, but he doesn't want to get on the wet part of the racetrack.
Question is, how far back through the field can Burton climb? I mean, again, probably waiting for a safety car to give him some sort of assistance here.
Behind him. Was that Poulton? Daniel Poulton? Was that Daniel that was around backwards behind Burton just out of that last corner? So he's held on to it. He hasn't got damage. Yep.
Oh, have a look at the SMSing going on there as well, boys. Ross Rizzo under all sorts of pressure from Daniel Poulton. Sorry, no, from Ross Rizzo was putting the pressure on Jordan Mazzaroli, I should say.
So here we go. He can look for a move up the inside, positions the car on the wet part of the racetrack though. Jordan Mazzaroli is going to hold on. Oh, it's not over yet. Rizzo trying to get to the power quicker. And he's got alongside and he'll get the job done here. So that was a nice move there from Ross Rizzo up the inside of Jordan Mazzaroli.
The interesting thing for mine is if you have a look at the left-hand side of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, just lost train of thought there for a moment because there's so much to try and absorb at the moment. We've got messages coming in left, right and centre. We've got stuff happening on the screen, times to keep an eye on and everything else. Ryan Jones is just plummeting down the order at the moment. Safety car deployed. Safety car deployed. Is it no? It's on standby for that. William Brown in the wall and crunched and written off at exactly the trouble trip-up point of the circuit that has failed to claim so many victims so far. It's now collected its first. William Brown is parked, and we will have safety car boards and flags, I would imagine, ladies and gentlemen. And Angus Lawford has just punched out the first 45 of the night in the process. Oh, my goodness me. This changes everything.
Yeah, well, who's going to roll the dice now and make a pit stop and get their second pit stop over and done with? Maybe bolt on us another set of dries, but we know the wet weather's coming. Here's the OG Gear replay. Turns in, he can't turn, and he's just a passenger. Oh, the car goes the wrong way. He's trying to pull it up. Bang, hard contact.
And there was no way he was going to be able to steer that one out of there. Now, what's interesting, and this kind of leads me into the point, right? Left-hand side of screen, very big mix of dry and wet weather runners at the moment. To Sam Mann's point, if we can have a look at that rain radar, right, we know the rain's coming towards the circuit. We know the pit lane's filling up. There's so much going on here. Is it worth rolling the dice, going into pit lane, ticking that box and saying, yes, we've done the 2 stops, we've met our requirements as per the regulations of the series, and then everybody's in the same boat, and then if they need to, address the situation of a change of tyres when the opportunity arises, if it arises?
I don't want to be a team owner or a strategist right now because it's borderline. Obviously, right now, if you live for the now, the right tyre to be on right now is a slick, but that rain's coming.
100%.
So what do you do? Do you roll the dice? Do you go out on another set of slicks and just hope that everyone else is in that same situation and have to come in and put wets on? Or do you roll the dice? And here's a little bit of an interesting fact for you. The safety car driver tonight, none other than one Madison Down.
Not nice to see a Hall of Famer in the house this early in the year. Normally they're all off still enjoying their holidays. But Madison Down is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. And, well, Jay was just very quick in my ear. Not all of them. No, we don't have a backup broadcaster to do the development series, my friend. It's not like a Chad Nail on Matt Nolte sort of situation. We just can't sub them in and out as we please, right? Although that being said, I've had to deputise for Rankin, so maybe we can. I don't know. But have a look at how busy that pit lane is for one. But good to see Madison Down in the house, getting involved in some way, shape or form. The Logitech G Pro Invitational safety car looks an absolute treat. Here's a replay coming away courtesy of OG Gear. And Billy Mole is another name joining the list of retirements. And this will be how it's happened. Same section of the circuit. By gee, that has been the centre of all the action in this stint, hasn't it? Exactly the same sort of impact and incident.
Yeah.
Would you believe that?
Carbon copy. And it's the worst feeling in the world when you're on a slick tyre on a wet part of the racetrack. You see that wall coming, there is zero that you can do. You are literally a passenger. So, yep, unfortunately it's claimed quite a few people. And yeah, now look at that tyre graphic on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Everyone on slicks. James in P8 though, he's rolled the dice with the wets. He's got his 2 stops though. So he's praying that this safety car goes for a little bit longer and the rain comes.
Jack Widders hasn't completed his second stop yet, nor has Bradley Ratu. So there's some interesting observations coming out of that leaderboard on the left-hand side of your screen. A couple of would-be contenders rolling the dice here. Now, the other point as well that somewhat might have been missed in all of this, the safety car will chew more time out of the clock, right? So, I mean, we're good in terms of running race distance, but it's going to give the rain more time to arrive on the site and play its part in the back end of this race. So the laps are going to take longer. The more time that drains out of the night, it gives the rain ever so, gradually, just an extra 10, 15% chance of actually arriving on scene in time to really shake things up in the final few stages of this race. As you can see, it's now zeroing in on the circuit. What was a small blob on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen is now dominating the left-hand side of that graphic.
And that graphic indicates where the light blue area is light rain and darker, the green area is where it's going to be heavier. So we're going to see a fair drop possibly at the end of this race, but does it come in time for James and the likes of, you said that, so we got Teo Serrano, he's on the wets as well. So it looks like they're rolling the dice. And like you said, if we can just stretch his safety car out for a little bit longer, and if these guys try to grab as much moisture on the racetrack to look after those wets, they could be in the catbird seat, but still a long way to go.
Oh dear. I should verify as well. My Hall of Fame reference was more so in regards to drivers, but I'm going to pay Jay for weighing in on that the way that he did. That was very nicely done. Stitched me up beautifully. Now, Hayden Veld, Sam Blacklock, Blake Warboys, Tyce Hodge, Wayne Walker, Rain Campbell, Lachlan Capel, then James Chastanoff, then Brian Borg and Angus Lawford, the top 10 here. Have a look for Jake Burton. He's 13th. He's now back within a chance, with a chance of getting himself back into the top 10. There's no doubt about that. So this safety car came at the right time for him. And I think, Sam, man, when you look at the conditions and how sketchy it was for everybody out there, it was never a matter of if, but always a matter of when that safety car was going to arrive. And it's arrived at just the right time here. On lap 29, we're going to have 16 to go at the line, should we get the all clear to go this time through. We're going to have 16 laps ahead of us, almost 1/3 race distance, to have at it and see how this race is going to play out and who's going to grab that golden ticket tonight.
Yeah, if you're wondering about the rain too, we saw on board there where Burton did have his wipers on, but that's just a little bit of rain, or the water that's kicking up from the cars in front. So it's still not raining as yet. There goes the safety car.
There we go.
Madison, as usual, leading the pack. Disappears now into the lane.
It's amazing, isn't it? How bright. It hasn't looked this bright and colourful all day. So, if anything, it feels like we're going to get a sun shower passing through this circuit at the Hockenheim ring in the next 25 minutes or so. So, about 1:45 a lap. So, 4 laps gives you 7 minutes, 21. There's still about 25 minutes to play coming your way here, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe a little bit more. So strap in, buckle up, hold on tight and enjoy the ride. Safety car in the pit lane. Field in control of Hayden Veld, who's led this thing pretty much from the outset. He brings us back to green. It's the closest he's been in the earshot of the rest of the field for the bulk of the night. They have got their first real chance of trying to stay with him. Off goes Sam Blacklock.
Someone went to the inside as well. Who was that? There's more drama.
Come on,
we're going to see another safety car. Huge drama on the back straight.
Wowee. Another written off race car. Cue another safety car. They're going off everywhere. Cold tyres, wet racetrack. That was always a recipe for disaster. Have a look at this. You'd be forgiven for thinking that this was a destruction derby, ladies and gentlemen. Hayden Veld continues to lead this field. Tyce Hodge has got up in a 3rd spot and Wayne Walker to 4th. This is madness at the Hockenheim ring.
Trying their absolute best just to give each other that little bit of room. But like you said, cold tyres, still a damp racetrack in parts. Everyone just trying to give each other an inch, but they're bumping and grinding, and lucky not to see a safety car because there were some heavily damaged race cars back there.
Was that...
no.
More trouble.
The wall has claimed another one. That's Tyce Hodge. That wall has claimed another one.
We've written off 3 race cars in the first lap after the safety car left the circuit. It's about to return. 2nd safety car of the night. And more opportunity for the rain to descend on the Hockenheim ring in Germany. Don't go to bed, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't over. Wayne Walker is up in a 2nd spot. And Rain Campbell is 3rd. Sam Blacklock is 4th. And I'm still not sure. Yes, good point.
7th.
Burton is up into 7th. He gained 6 spots on that lap, Sam, man. What the hell? Brad Newman is 10th. Kurt Stenberg's up into 12th. All madness, all hell is broken loose in Germany. And we're still none the wiser as to how this finishes. Ryan Jones is back in 15th after all of that. Damien Johnston got a mechanical meatball in all of that. This is how he did it.
This is what the restart is. He sees a car in front of him. He's trying to thread the metal. He's on the wet part of the racetrack, and that just turns on him. Absolute passenger gets drilled. A couple of more cars get involved. Mate, how quickly does this race change? If we were watching the cricket, the FOMO alert would be going off big time.
Exactly. I had to explain what FOMO meant. My father and I were watching the cricket one night, and he said, "What the hell's FOMO?" Just wasn't up to speed with the new age lingo. The old boy. It was like, what the hell are they talking about? Because we were wondering where the sirens were coming from, and then we realised it was from the television. So that was, of course, Dice Hodge exiting stage left, and an instant retirement. And that's unlucky for him because he'd been having such a good run.
Exactly. I was just about to touch on it. Being inside the top 5, he was 4th at that moment. And have a look at the radar. Look how close it is to the racetrack. And if we go to our graphic of tells us who's on what, I think the wet tyre drivers that have rolled the dice, I know James was one of them, he will be hoping that rain hits sooner rather than later because it's going to really put him in an amazing spot.
Just want to have a look at our pit counter as well, boys, right now. So the radar showing, yes, it's on its way to the circuit. Just want to have a look down the order. There were a couple of names that hadn't stopped a second time. I think we've now pretty much cleansed the field, have we not? Is that what am I reading that correctly? Yes. So anyone that hadn't yet completed their second stop, use that second safety car to do just that. So now we're good to go through till the end, and you've hedged your bets. There's still a couple of guys out there on wets. And they're in the box seat. If this track deteriorates enough once that rain arrives, they're in the box seat to capitalise. But now you've got to ask yourself the question, Sam, man, how long do you persevere with the dry tyres, given that there will be an invoice involved in transiting the lane for a third time? You've got to weigh up the pros and cons here. Again, I'm glad we're in the commentary box and we've only got to try and make sense of it for the audience at home. The strategists and the team leaders that are calling the shots, they'd be tearing their hair out right now.
Yeah, for the moment, you live for the now. So everyone's on the right tyre at the moment, the way the track is, except obviously James, you've got Teo and Scott Gamble back there as well. But if this rain comes, we don't know how much of it is going to hit the racetrack. It looks like it's going to be a fair chunk. We're just hearing that Brad Ratu has pitted again.
Ooh.
And put
gone
on
back to wets.
So he's rolled the dice. He has looked at the skies and said, you know what, if this rain comes, I'm rolling the dice. And I don't think it's a bad play.
And it's not the worst move in the world as well, considering where he was in the race at the time, Sandman. He has nothing to lose. So he can take that, hedge that bet and take that punt. What I'm interested in as well is if we look skyward, it looks ominously darker than what it was 5 minutes ago. So it may yet be the right call.
Well, just looking at that radar from our previous safety car to this one, you can see how much it's really encroached on the racetrack. So it's a matter of, not what is it? Matter of if, not when sort of thing. So it's trying to look at the skies. It can't see much there. We're not seeing any rainfall at the moment. But everyone will be looking at this. And can you imagine if James gets up and wins this by rolling the dice on the wets? Mate, him and his family will be doing some of the best rain dances that they can think of at the moment, just hoping that this rain comes the way of the circuit. At the moment, it's still dry, so the right tyre is the slicks for the moment.
They'd be having a party tonight and calling in sick tomorrow, I'd say.
Yeah, that's it.
They'd be taking the rest of the week off because we know how much this means to everybody. You want to be in the big dance. I mean, there are many contenders that we look at and think, well, that's an automatic in. But if you don't get it right in this 4 weeks, sometimes you do end up, unfortunately, on the outer. And that applies to pre-qualifying as well. The registration numbers for this series were through the roof this year. And the safety car driven by Madison Down, the Logitech G Pro Invitational safety car, is on its way back to the lane, ladies and gentlemen. That's the big breaking news here. So with 13 laps to go, we'll get restart number 2 here in Germany. What a tantalising prospect ahead of us. What a fascinating second round of the qualifying series this has been. This just whets the appetite, not only for the next 2 weeks of qualifying, but then for the 12 rounds of the series proper, which we will bring you here live, exclusive and free on the SimSpeed Esports Network and the platforms of the Australian Sim Racing Group. Back to green we go in Germany. Hayden Veld, can he withstand the pressure of Wayne Walker, Ryan Campbell and the rest of the field for a third time tonight? Let's find out. He held them long. He waited until late in the piece to hit the gas and get going. Let's go in Germany. Moves being made already. Newman having a look down the inside. No, he thought better of it. Wide at turn one.
Just couldn't get
that was Ross's zone.
Yeah, and he's trying his best.
Trouble. Here we go.
The safety car. It's drama. Everyone just coming to grips with this racetrack, and it's just a big block, and the track is jammed. Absolutely nowhere to go. They've managed to pinpoint through there, but we may see another safety car.
I love that it was you that got the first Crompton reference of the night in, by the way. Dennis Gallerick also caught up in drama here. Cars sprawling everywhere. And I would not be surprised if they deploy the safety car for a third time. There's no wheel on Aaron Borg's car.
Yeah.
There's no wheel on that. One of the tyres is parted company. The front left tyre is parted company with the car. That will require a tow job. I think Madison Down's going to earn his money tonight.
James is praying. James is praying back in 11th place, like, please bring us out another safety car. He wants this rain to hit the racetrack. Everyone else, they want to see this race go green because they want to make the most of this dry tyre. But James is praying that race control say safety car, safety car.
13 laps to go, becomes 12 at the line, side by side we go. Chastanov about to lose 11th here, you would think. Mazzaroli's going through to 11th, but not without one hell of a fight from Chastanov. Raining at the final corner. There's your first rain, ladies and gentlemen, in the back half of this race. Holy smoke, what a night to be in the cockpit.
Take it easy, James. Get to the wet part of the racetrack and cool those tyres down. You want to look after those wets with 13 laps to go. He is in the catbird seat. He's been praying for the rain. He's rolled the dice for the wet so we can see the rain is falling.
That was Ryan Campbell dropping to Sam Blacklock and Lachlan Cable and Jake Burton and Angus Lawford as well. Down the inside, wow. Burton on the inside of Cable. Burton is back into fifth.
He's charging, absolutely charging. So they're trying to make the most of this dry racetrack. It's still dry. Even though the rain's falling, there's still that grip. So they're going to make the most of it, what they can do at this stage. They don't want to pit. This part of the racetrack looks like there's no rain falling. So it hasn't hit the entire circuit just yet.
This is unbelievable. Now, when... I don't think they've neutralised the race. Brad Newman was the one that was wide then just at the exit of the hairpin. But they haven't neutralised this. Even though Aaron Borg was sitting there stranded on the side of the racetrack, more rain around the arena layout of the circuit too, and more rain coming behind that bend as well. So it's going to be a wet run to the checkered flag. We established that a few laps ago. But given the stop-start nature of the last few laps, race control have given Aaron Borg the go-ahead to automatically tow himself out of harm's way, and we have kept this race green as a result. He's been able to drive it back to pit lane on 3 wheels. Are you kidding me? Wowee. So that's why we've been able to stay green, ladies and gentlemen. We are good to go to the checkered flag, or are we? Let's wait and see.
Mate, unreal. Hayden Veld over Wayne Walker, Sam Blacklock, Blake Warboys, Jake Burton, your top 5. And you can see, just trying to see if the rain's falling in this. Yeah, it is. Yep. Absolutely. The rain's falling in this part of the racetrack. So, mate, fastest lap, Jake Burton, he's on the charge. What a night he's had. He's been up there. He's been down there. He's had two penalties, one from race control, one from iRacing, and now he finds himself inside the top 5. What a brilliant drive so far from Jake.
Blake Warboy's the next target for him. He's got Sam Blacklock, Wayne Walker and Hayden Veld ahead of that. We go back to a battle down further in the field. That was Jack Vittis getting by. So James, unfortunately, not on the right tyre at the moment. We haven't got to that point where the wets are going to be the preferred compound here. But we're getting there. It's just a matter of whether or not it'll be good enough, late enough, or early enough, I should say, more to the point, for James Chastanov.
Yeah, it needs to happen sooner rather than later for him, because at the point now he's 15 seconds behind the leader. So that's almost given them a ticket to get down the lane and put on a set of wets and come back out. So, and then the problem that James will have is that they'll be on newer wet tyres, so they'll have a lot more grip than what James will, because unfortunately he's hurting the tyre at the moment as dry as it is. Even though the rain's falling and there's wet part of the racetrack, he's actually doing damage to that wet tyre. So it's not really working in his favour at the moment, and it really needs to bucket down sort of right now in the next lap or so for him to sort of benefit. It's now almost 17 seconds the margin between him and Veld.
9:45 Eastern Daylight Time, and we're not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in New Zealand, get the kettle on, because it's going to be a late night for you. This was from Aaron Borg's viewpoint on the OG Gear replay. He had nowhere to go, just straight into the carnage.
Passenger destroyed that left front, had nowhere to go, like you said. So Rick Zestoff, no, it's just gone. Yep, fastest of the race, a 1:44.3. So they're still finding grip, even though there's that little bit of precipitation.
From Dennis Gaderick's viewpoint now on the OG Gear replay, and just watch the view disappear from in front of him. The mist. And just arriving blind. Yeah. He did well to get through it, but unfortunately not without sustaining damage. More trouble down at the bottom of the circuit now. Tom Freer, not for the first time tonight. Down at turn 2.
We spoke to Tom at the earlier night. He was on the bubble coming into this, so he finds himself that he's had some drama back there. So back in P23 for the moment. So this is a replay, and I fear he's just going to get absolutely drilled here. And he's minding his own business, and bang, Will's just gone into the side of him. So, that's hard.
Brody Sentence, unfortunately, needs a win to secure a golden ticket. That's not going to help his ambitions. Off down at the hairpin, Sam Mem.
Not tonight. So we go to the OG Gear replay.
Oh. We'll go back to the leaders in a moment. That was the OG Gear replay of what happened down at the bottom of the circuit. The track school entry.
This is the most pressure that Veld's been under all night. He was out to 10, 12 seconds lead at one stage. So Daylight was second, and now he's like, oh, hold on a second. I've actually got blokes that are going to race for this win, and there's 10 laps to go.
But they're all now fighting it out. Earlier in the night, they were on wet tyres on a drying racetrack. Now they're on dry tyres on a racetrack that's transitioning back to wet. It's very lightly wet there at the moment. We've got more rain coming, but it's patchy. 4 km/h southeasterly wind, 17 degrees the track temperature, 18 the ambient at the moment. It's a very cool winter's day at the Hockenheim ring, ladies and gentlemen. Dry tyres for all of the top 15. James Chastanov's gone down into 16th right now. Bradley Ratu in 26th on those wet weather tyres, so he's been able to gain 4 positions since returning to the racetrack in 30th. And the good news is there's still 8 laps to go when we get back to the start-finish line. This is only lap 37, the final 20% of the race, ladies and gentlemen. 80% of the way there, 20% to go. Don't touch your set, don't adjust the dial. This one is far from done in Germany.
Yeah, we've already seen how many cars that this corner right here is claimed, and it's still, don't rule it out that someone else could have a moment there as well too. So at the moment, this top 4 covered by 1.1 seconds. Jake Burton just a little bit further back. You see that race controls handed out a 10-second penalty to Kirk Stenberg, contact with car 41. So yeah, where Burton's is at the moment, he's thinking, if these guys get a little bit racy, it's going to be, obviously the track's changing every lap. So if there is a little bit of a moment for any of these cars that lock a tyre and make nose-to-tail contact, he's hoping that he's that far back that he can sort of squeeze through and maybe capitalise on their mistake.
What a night to be thrown into the cockpit to keep the seat warm for Scotty Rankin, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the grand finale. That'll be right. He's here for the glory moments of the series. We'll do the heavy lifting for him in his absence, though. Hayden Veld, Wayne Walker. What a moment this would be for Wayne Walker. As Jay highlighted to us earlier in the evening, in the vet series at the moment, running solidly there, but this would be the biggest win of his sim racing career, no doubt. Drive-through penalty for Philippa Boquita as well for contact on the 38 earlier in the piece. We also saw another penalty handed out there, 10 seconds for another driver a few moments ago as well, Chris Ireland, and he's already well out of contention, unfortunately, but that adds insult to injury because all these penalties that aren't going to be served on pit lane will be applied post-race. We will have provisional updated championship points for you at the end. We'll also talk to our race winner as well, ladies and gentlemen, and you the final 2 rounds of the qualifying series. Jake Burton, as it stands, would retain his place at the top of the leaderboard, but without the automatic ticket. Hayden Veld would take himself out of the points equation and go straight into the big dance. And Blake Warboys and Sam Blacklock would put themselves there in a trouble. Jeez, that was close, wasn't it?
Yeah, Blacklock just made a little bit of contact. Wayne was trying to get to the throttle and Sam maybe had just a tiny bit more pace. There was a little bit of contact there, but looks like he's given the spot back, which is good. But now look at the Burton. Burton trying around the outside. He's gone. He's off into the gravel. He'll make contact with the wall.
I think he might have kept it off by the skin of his teeth, Sam, man. But all chances of a victory have just evaporated.
Damage.
He's dropped down to 9th. Oh, no, there is damage on the front right. You're right. We will have a look at that in a moment. That was the contact on Walker from Blacklock. Oh, it's all gone to hell at the Hockenheim ring, and there are still 8 laps to go.
Smart there from Blacklock. He knew he got into him, so he just rolled out of the throttle, gave the position back. But unfortunately, Burton went to the outside, and he just couldn't pull it up. So Burton looks
Blacklock
like
on pit road.
And Burton's lost his front splitter from that damage too, so... Wow. Is Blacklock rolling the dice for wets? That's what he's doing. He wants to be the first car on the wets. So he's rolled the dice. Good on him.
Good call, bold call. Hayden Veld, only 3/10 clear of Wayne Walker, but that's enough for anybody at the moment to grab that golden ticket. And now you're weighing up your options. Do you go to the wets? Do you take the risk? Or do you stay out there and persevere with the dries and hope that the deficit you inherit by going to pit lane isn't overturned when you get back out onto the racetrack with the wet tyres? So many options on the table at the moment, so many different scenarios at play. No idea how it's all going to play out and unfold for you, but Hayden Veld is the race leader, has been for much of the night. This has been a clinical and dominant performance from him. Wayne Walker is second. Beneficiary of some smart driving, some good, solid stints, but also some misfortune falling foul of the opponents around him as well. Blake Warboys, Lachlan Capel, Ryan Campbell. That was a bit of a lock-up in a moment to the left. You'll have a look here in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Blacklock is good for the moment, but he was deep at the hairpin. That did lose him a position, but he got it back at the next corner.
Yeah.
Stay with the replay, because the car that got back past him did actually go wide at the next corner. Watch the car that was P6. Watch this. All on. Yeah. I thought I saw that. We didn't pick it up on the shot live at the time, but that was Pereira. Wowee.
It was a moment and a half. Holy crap. So the way at the moment, the way it's playing out, Veld leading over Wayne Walker second, Blake Warboys third, Lachlan Capel fourth. Our eyes are on Sam Blacklock. He's come in and put on a new set of wet tyres. He's 30 seconds behind though. So look, it really needs to pour down with rain and everyone has to sort of roll the dice and maybe come in the pits. But I think for the moment, these guys, regardless of what happens out with the track, they're probably just going to roll the dice and stay on the slicks.
And still more rain on its way. That big band of green is going to lash this circuit imminently. And how will that change the rapidly deteriorating conditions that we're dealing with on the bitumen at the moment? And how will that then favour, the tables turn in favour of the guys that are currently on the wet weather compound? Rick Kuznetsov in 7th at the moment. Hands full, trying to get by Angus Lawford and defend Jake Burton.
Oh, get off the water! Oh, he's going to lose it! Did he go round? The car wiggled, he got into the water. He did. He looped it.
He got it back straight, but lost a lot of time in the process. Burton's going to go through to the outside. Burton back to 7th.
Yeah, heads up to Burton. You can see the amount of damage he's got to that car, but he's holding on because he needs to claim as many points as he can. So here we go. We were on board. This is what we saw. He touched the the water. Oh, he just made almost contact with the wall, clipped it, didn't loop it. Man, lucky to get away with it.
And that was so close to being a written-off race car and a very late race safety car for us. Walker in trouble here because he's got Blake Warboys down on his inside. Brad Newman's going to get a 5-second penalty for a contact with Brian Borg. Walker somehow holding on to second. But this is the thing. Warboys and Capel are trying to get by Wayne Walker and go out in pursuit of Hayden Veld. They feel as though Walker's holding them up at the moment, Sandman.
Yeah, the problem is this dryish racing line as the rain continues to fall. No one's game enough to get on the wet part of the racetrack on these slicks because you have a hard enough time trying to pull it up. So that's what they've got to deal with. So Wayne Walker, all he needs to do is be smart at the moment and hold these guys off, hold the racing line and make them get on the wet part of the racetrack if they're going to try to attempt to go around him. But that's hold your breath stuff. So for the moment, he's doing a great job.
I'm still waiting for that track condition to update from very lightly wet to lightly wet. It hasn't yet, but I'm expecting it before the race is run.
Well,
have a look at this. Walker under tremendous pressure, but withstanding it. Yeah. It's all gone downhill very quickly for Sam Blacklock, unfortunately, Sandman.
Yeah, it's just not wet enough at this stage. So he's lost another 5 seconds since we last spoke about him. So, and I think the way the race is going, yes, the race. Oh, wiggle there for Walker. He's held onto it. Oh, so David was probably Veld. He's going from around the outside. He's going to take the lead. Wayne Walker grabs the lead off Hayden Veld.
Hayden Veld for the first time tonight on the racetrack loses the lead, and Jake Burton's in the gravel again. Same point of the circuit that tripped him up a few laps ago. Wayne Walker leads in Germany with 4 laps to go.
Well done. So this is Wayne, you can see up in front of him. So Veld's had a moment. We're watching Veld as he comes through on the OG gear replay, understeers, gets onto that part of the racetrack that's claimed so many drivers today. A bit of a wiggle, and he's held it around the outside. What a brilliant move from Wayne Walker.
Spoken like a true proud vet competitor and alumni there, Sandman. I love it. Have a look at this. Hayden Veld for Eclipse Sim Sport. Can he find a way back through? Another year-on-year change, of course. Part of the ERT stable last year in the GT Pro Invitational. Veld going at it with Eclipse Sim Sport this season, looking to get them another seat on the grid in the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series. Wayne Walker the leader. Hayden Veld, Blake Warboys. We're on lap 42. This and 3 laps to go.
Oh, this is
Ray Campbell and Rick Kuznetsov not too far away either, Sandman.
Yeah, that's it. It's still anyone's race at the moment. I'm cheering for Wayne Walker. He's a proud Vets driver leading the series at the moment in the Vets, and it just goes to show the talent pool that they've got in the Vets series. V8 Vets put on an amazing show, and for him to hold off the likes of Veld and Warboys and Campbell, that really goes to show the talent. And in these conditions, it's not easy. He's doing a brilliant job.
He is indeed. Baquita and Rizzo to pit lane as well. Jamie Dyke already there. I think Jamie Dyke's had a stop and hold, quite frankly. Wayne Walker, Hayden Veld, Blake Warboys, Rain Campbell. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a 5-horse race at the front of the field. And Lachlan Cable's in 10th spot at the moment. Trouble!
Campbell! Campbell!
Round the wrong way.
So
and then the
look at Lachlan Capel though, 19.7. He's getting closer and closer to leader. He's put on wets, and now he's making his charge. He's only got 3 laps to go, so that's the unfortunate bit for him.
That's the problem. Yep.
Yeah, if you're on slicks now, you've made your bed. You've got to stick with it because you're going to lose too much time down the lane. So he's going to push on as hard as he can and use these wets up. But Rain Campbell's in the pit, so that now puts Lachlan Capel into 8th.
Yep. And Jake Burton the next target, but Jake is 3.5 seconds up the road. We know he's hamstrung with a little bit of front end damage as well. Hayden Veld, is this the time, the opportunity, the moment for him to have a look back at Wayne Walker and try and get back to the lead? Or is he now just totally and solely relying on a mistake from the vet who leads this field?
Absolutely. He has to because he's too... Oh, he's going to try and look. You don't want to go on the inside. It's so wet. You want to stay on the dry-ish part of the racetrack. And that's all that Wayne Walker needs to do is hold his line, make Veld go around the outside. There's no grip. He's understeered. Wayne Walker, he's missed it. So he's run wide, he's spun, he's gone. Oh, he's thrown away on a huge opportunity.
Wowee. And how quickly the tables have turned back in favour of Hayden Veld. Rick Kuznetsov now finds himself 3rd in the motor race. Warboys is 2nd. It doesn't matter, though, because if you're not first, you're coming back next week, boys. 5-second penalty for Brad Newman as well for contact earlier in the piece with the 52. Oh, no! Oh, no!
That's Warboys! No!
Goes Hayden Veld! That is Hayden Veld! Off and in the rubble again! Can you believe this? Blake Warboys leads in Germany! Blake Warboys in a survival of the fittest leads in Germany with 2 to go! What the hell is going on here?
Watch Lachlan Capel, P5. That margin is now 10 seconds. He's on the wet tyre. He's making a charge for this top 5.
And just as I say that, Sandman, track conditions updated to lightly wet. It's now more beneficial to be on the wet weather rubber. This is ridiculous.
So 10 seconds on the
Capel is
line.
within 9.7 seconds, Sandman.
Oh my God, what is going to happen now? All eyes on Lachlan Capel. Now 8.9 seconds. Blake Warboys in first. Rick Kuznetsov in second. Hayden Veld in third. They're all on slicks. But Capel coming now under 9 seconds on the wet tyre with 1.5 laps to go.
I think it's a case of so near yet so far for Hayden Veld. This now looks like it's Lachlan Capel's race to lose. Rick Kuznetsov on the inside of Blake. Warboys has spun it around. Warboys has lost it. He's gone back to third. Veld goes back to second. Rick Kuznetsov leads, but Lachlan Capel is now only 7.2 seconds away. This is not done, and it's getting heavy in the rain as well. We've got that sun shower we anticipated.
He's gone. There goes Rick Kuznetsov. He's gone.
You're kidding me. Rick Kuznetsov's got now. Veld leads again. 3 laps ago he was done. He was out of contention. He now leads once more. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Capel now P3, 4.7 seconds. It's the last lap. Hayden Veld, 2.2 seconds over Blake Warboys. Lachlan Capel now, 2.5. He's going to win it. I reckon he's going to win it.
Kuznetsov was slow in the arena.
They can't do it. They can't hold him. Lachlan Capel is coming. He's on the right tyre at the right time. Hayden Veld is a sitting duck.
There he is. He's right there. There's the lead. Not bad motorsport and Lachlan Capel lead in Germany with a lap to go. White flag in the air. Let's go. One more time around. 3 wide in the battle for second. Veld Kuznetsov. Newman come from nowhere and Blacklock as well.
Blacklock was one of the first to roll the dice.
This is madness, man.
We knew the rain was going to play havoc in this. Rolling the dice, Lachlan Capel put on the wets, made his charge. He was over 20 seconds down, and he's beat on the right tyre at the right time. Brad Newman is almost in position to grab P2. Slam Blacklock, he'll be there as well. Veld just falling back on those slick tyres.
Lachlan Capel from out of the clouds will find his way from 11th on the grid to the lead with half a lap to go. Excuse me, he's half a lap. I've dropped a cylinder in the last 3 laps. Capel is half a lap away from booking his spot on the grid and securing the golden ticket to the Logitech G Pro Invitational for 2026. Hayden Veld. Brad Newman's got a second. Brad Newman has got a second on Hayden Veld. And there goes Sam Blacklock to third. Veld has dropped off the podium with half a lap to go. Brad Newman from 40 bloody second on the grid, Sandman. And the drive of the night. Drive from Brad Newman. But Lachlan Capel and Sam Blacklock are going to be... He nearly threw it away! With 3 quarters to go! Are you kidding me? Lachlan Capel! You've just got to get it round the final 2 quarters, son. You're 7 seconds to the good. You can pluck it back into second gear and coast to the line from here. And that's exactly what he will do. Lachlan Capel wins in Germany. Round 2 of the Logitech G Pro Qualifying Series. Unbelievable. What the hell?
He'll come home in third.
Brad Newman has a penalty. Oh, he'll be relegated. And Blacklock will go to second on corrected order. James Chastanov is going to get back to the top
God.
5. Ray Campbell comes home in 4th. Hayden Veld, Jack Widders, and then Bradley Ratu, Angus Lawford, and Rick Kuznetsov. And look at this.
They're just chasing each other the line. What they're doing, they need to make as many spots as they can. They want to grab as many points as they can because overall you want to be inside. But what an unbelievable race. Totally forgot about Newman with that penalty. So Capel first, Blacklock second, and Rain Campbell for possibly third. I think he might hold on for third. What a race. So Newman will fall back to 6th place at this stage. Massive congratulations for Lachlan Capel. Rolled the dice, got on the wet tyre at the right time, and boy, oh boy, did we see everything here at Hockenheim. What a brilliant race.
Oh, wow. My voice box is sounding almost as good as yours was during Bathurst last year. Have a look at this. Lachlan Capel by 8 seconds in the end. Brad Newman, Sam Blacklock, Rain Campbell, James Chastanov, and Hayden Veld, Jack Widders, Bradley Ratu, Angus Lawford, and Daniel Poulton. Had we not had the 6 laps under safety car so close to that rain band looming and arriving on scene, it could have been a completely different ball game. But in the end, Lachlan Capel to the victor go the spoils, and he will be on the grid when we get to Sebring for the opening round of the Pro Series next month, or actually it's March in fact. Rick Kuznetsov, Blake Warboys were outside the top 10 in all of that. They led it a couple of minutes ago. Jake Burton, Ryan Jones, Tom Freer, Wayne Walker, Will Buchanan, Jordan Mazzaroli, Brody Seddington, Jamie Dyke took us back to the top 20. And then the tail of the walking wounded, and those that will leave here with their tail dangling between their legs, unfortunately. Russell Pepperell, Kurt Stenberg, Brian Borg, Ryan Bettis, Ros Rizzo, Philippa Berquida, then Scott Gamble, Dylan Pereira, Josh Horton, and Blake Fitz. Unbelievable. And beyond that, I mean, what was it? Top 27, 26 home on the lead lap. Chris Dylan finished 3 laps down. Ryan O'Sullivan, had it not been for that tech fault, the internet falling foul on him. Aaron Borg, unlucky. Teo Sorono, the star power at the bottom end of that leaderboard, Sandman, says a lot about how difficult this series is to conquer.
Absolutely. And some of the stories that we've had tonight, and just the racing. Wayne Walker, a contender there from the vet series. Unfortunately, that got away from him. Ended up coming home in 16th position, where he was there at a chance for taking out this win. But an incredible drive from Lachlan Capel. Unbelievable. As he joins us in the commentary box now, Lachlan, I am speechless. What an incredible race. You got on the tyre at the right time.
Yeah, so I wobbled a lot on that first dry hit. We actually had a really good strat going there. We stayed out later, and then that happened. Wobbled around. 2 safety cars got me back in it after falling back behind way too far. And then from that restart, the last restart, everyone's just sort of sat in a train, and obviously because we're all on dries, no one can pass. So I just watched my delta. From practice, we knew that the delta between dry and wets was about that 1 minute 50 range. Blacklock pitted, and I was still doing 46s, 47s. And I was like, okay, I got to keep going. And then I'm looking on the new iRacing's new little add-on to the widget screen where you can have the weather in the bottom hand corner. And I had the weather going, and I had the zoom on, and it started to go green to dark green. And I'm like, no, we got to pit now, or else we're all going backwards. Made the pit stop, and then from there it was just keep the thing straight, which was very difficult, knowing what was about to happen, and it happened. Still pretty speechless about what happened, but yeah.
It was incredible to watch, mate, because when you put on those wets, I think we looked at the timing, and it was sort of plus 20 seconds to the leader, and I sort of started to think, is there enough laps? Are you going to be able to do it? What's the rain going to do? And then that rain just got heavier, and the guys that were on the slicks just had zero grip, and the charge from you from back that far was just incredible.
Yeah, I knew from looking at that loop over the safety car periods, it just looked like it was that little band of rain was going to get worse and worse and worse. I was very, very tempted to pit a lot earlier than that to try what Brad ended up doing, which is our strategy ended up going really well for Brad to get him up to P8 after all of that. But it was just sort of watching that weather, and I knew that that rain band was not going to end. It was just going to get worse. So I needed to get on the tyre at the right time, and I'm very surprised no one else pitted when I did. But I guess, you know, last 5 laps, just hang it all out there and hope you get to the end. And I managed to get around that and win it. So I'll take it.
Lockie, I might just jump in here for a moment. I'll get a couple more questions from Sam in a second, but I need to ask you, mate, 2 things. One, how deep in the mouth was the heart there about 4 corners from home when you're having a big struggle with the car trying to get it through the left-hander in the stadium section? And B, with a 7.5 second advantage up your sleeve, how delighted are you to be booking your ticket into the to the series proper this year, mate?
Oh, I'm extremely happy. It's always stressful doing these rounds because I know we've picked up significant pace over at Orbit Drop Bear Motorsports, and yeah, from it was just sort of getting there. Last round, I got the I'll call the crash bar of death damage, which caused me to go backwards quite significantly. You know, 0.6 a lap from a small hit, it's not the greatest, but you got to play with what cards are dealt. We managed to get back to P16, so that was good. But yeah, here I never in a million years thought I was going to win this. I always thought, you know, quali didn't go great. Bud is the rain guy. Back at ERT, he was always the rain person, so I'm a bit gutted for him, if I'm being honest. But yeah, he had that pretty much won, and feel really bad for him. But at the same time, puts a little bit of weight off my shoulders. Now I can focus on the main series, get back into the groove of things. We've worked really hard on these docks, and from the minute we saw that forecast change over the week, we saw it was going to be wet, so we put a lot of wet hours in. That seems like it's paid off.
Well, Lockie, I think before we let you go and enjoy this one with the team, is there anyone you want to thank, mate, on an incredible night's win here at Hockenheim?
Look, I've got to give a massive shout out to Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport. Me changing right at the end of last year probably made a few people question what I was doing. But as you can see, we've come on really strong in this first 2 rounds of the Pro Series qualifying. We've been working really hard back at the setup camp, learning a few things, got a few tricks for RC for the next couple of rounds as well. So that's good. But big shout out to everyone in there tonight: Sam, Brad, Tom for doing spotting, and Tyson. Shame that Tyson can't do the series this year due to work commitments, but because he would have been rapid tonight. He was always up there in practice servers. So big shout out to all those guys. And look, shout out to you guys putting on the broadcast as per usual. But this race result wouldn't have happened without the team, and it wouldn't have happened without the practice we did recently. So couldn't be more happy, and we'll go and celebrate this next little bit.
Oh, well done, mate. Great to talk to you. A very great race. Just to watch you make that charge and be on the right tire at the right time. It was really cool to be cheering for you in the commentary box, mate. Well done. Go and enjoy this one. And, mate, hopefully you're on the couch or supporting the team next week, because there's still 2 more weeks to go for the other Drop Bear guys, and hopefully they can make the show as well.
Yeah, I may not be driving, but I'll be doing just as much work behind the scenes, working at docks and trying to see what we can do with setups. As well as Tyson's done. He's done a mega job, so we'll keep at it, try and see what we can do with Blacklock and Ratu. But honestly, I wouldn't be too worried. We're looking pretty good. So considering I knew this was going to be my curse track, I've had speeding and pits penalties, I've had drive-throughs, I've had everything happen to me in the last couple of rounds. So to come back from previous Hockenheim races here and to win it, unbelievable. But appreciate it all, guys.
No worries, mate. Go and soak it up. We'll talk to you, no doubt, throughout the year, as you are now confirmed as part of the 2026 Logitech G Pro Invitational, mate. Congratulations. Enjoy this one, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, guys.
And it's interesting because, to be fair, Sam, man, we probably could have sat here and spoken to him for another 15 or 20 minutes. There's so much to try and pick apart and make sense of in all of that. The big point being that he is a huge recruit for the Orbit Drop Bear stable, for the balance of the season, having switched over from ERT. What a recruit to have, and it's already, the positive impact that was always going to have for them is already evident for everybody else to see. So it'll be interesting to see how they come on leaps and bounds as an outfit in supercar racing as the season unfolds. There's the lay of the land for you at the moment. So I want to ask you this as we have a look down the order, Sam Blacklock with the lead, 3:58, 28 on Jake Burton, unlucky for him. Bradley Ratsu was only another 2 points further back. Then Blake Warboys, Brad Newman, Jack Widders, James Chastanov, all names that we mentioned prominently tonight. Hayden Veld, Ryan Jones, Rain Campbell as well. 86 points covers the top 10 at the moment. Kurt Stenberg, Ryan Bettis, Angus Lawford, Tom Freer, Dylan Pereira, Brian Borg, Rido Sullivan, Daniel Poulton, Josh Horton and Wayne Walker. How desperately unlucky for Wayno. Made up the top 20 at the midway point of the Logitech G Pro Invitational Supercar Qualifying Series for 2026. Now, 2 rounds down, 2 to go. 21 tickets booked before we got into here. 2 more secured. So that's now 23. There's another 18 on the line in this series over the next 2 weeks. 2 for race winners and then the next 16 based on points. 4 wildcard invitations to be sent out after that to give us our field of 45. But Sam, man, I want to ask you, at the moment, who should be sweating bricks and who should be resting comfortably knowing that their pace, provided that all the other I's can be dotted and T's can be crossed, will be good enough to secure them a ticket, even if they can't nab a race win over the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, look, I think the guys that are safe are probably inside the top 10, and then obviously anything outside of that, it's still reasonably close, and you can't afford to have an off night or have something go pear-shaped for you. It doesn't take much to get some real damage that can cost you an entire night of points. So I think it's only maybe the top 5 or 10 that can probably breathe easy if they are smart about their racing. But anyone outside of that, I think they all need to be on tenterhooks. And if you are a lot further outside of the top 20, you really need to concentrate on that win or you're in.
I only just had a chance to catch up with, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen, our live broadcast chat. You picked up on the fact that Brad Newman had penalties coming his way. I didn't realise it was 15 seconds worth, Sam, and he had 3 5-second invoices given to him tonight. That's why he's dropped down the order, both with regards to the finishing order tonight, and will also drop down on points as a result of that when everything's adjusted, because everything that was just showing you there, excuse me, was just provisional for the moment, ladies and gentlemen. A bit of overtime to be done for our admin crew tonight. There's the next assignment for you, ladies and gentlemen. Logitech G Pro Invitational Qualifying Series, the Imola Circuit, the Enzo Edino Ferrari. Next Wednesday night, 4th of February, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, 4:45 in the West and 9:45 in New Zealand. Good on you to everyone in New Zealand watching what is now a Thursday morning. Well worth staying up late and burning the candle for tonight. There's no doubt about that. We sincerely hope that you've enjoyed it. If you've missed it, Yannick Sinner threw in straight sets at Melbourne Park as well, the other big sporting event that was unfolding tonight. So Sinner to play Djokovic, Zverev to play Alcaraz in the men's semi-finals on Friday, women's semi-finals tomorrow night. Scott Rankin already a bit disappointed that he wasn't here and able to call that one with you, Sandman, but my vocal cords are also a bit annoyed that he couldn't either.
Yes, we're going to have a well-earned break now. Well, thank you for joining me in the commentary box, Zach. It was an absolute pleasure, and what a cracking race to come back for. We saw a little bit of everything. We were on the edge of our seats, and I mentioned halfway through that we almost need a FOMO alert for the cricket, because if you switched off halfway through this race and thought you had the standings all sorted out in your head, you miss an absolute cracker of a race. So brilliant. Already looking forward to next week, and the pressure's really going to start to rise on everyone as we head to round 3 of this 4-round series.
Imagine walking away with 10 laps to go and then coming back and thinking, what on earth has gone on here to get to that leaderboard the way that it ended up after lap 45. Phenomenal stuff. Well done to our crew, both on the ASRG side of things and the SimSpeed side of things as well. Thank you to Jay Kennedy. Brilliant work in the producer-director chair once more. Thank you to all of our crew, our admin staff, our series organisers, our crew and race control. Thanks to all the stars of the show for putting on a magnificent spectacle for you at home to enjoy and us to enjoy as well. Some are already labelling that as one of the best supercar races they've ever seen under the ASRG banner, ladies and gentlemen. It's not hard to see why when you look at everything that played out over 45 laps. Sometimes you don't get the best track and car combo in this series, but with added precipitation and strategy and uncertainty thrown into the mix, you left here tonight having witnessed an instant classic. Lachlan Capel now cements his spot on the grid for the 2026 Logitech G Pro Invitational in outstanding fashion. He joins Robbie Gibbs as a qualifying series race winner, and everybody else will have to psych themselves up again over the next 7 days in readiness to go around in round 3 next week from the Imola circuit. We do it with thanks to Logitech, with thanks to Max Pappas Innovations, OG Gear, Playseat, the Gamesman, and all the crew at the Australian Sim Racing Group and the SimSpeed Esports Network. We sincerely hope that you've enjoyed that as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Who'd have thought supercar racing in January would be that good? On behalf of the crew here, I'm Zach Caban, a new play-by-play man in the seat next week. Scott Rankin back the week after. So Sandman's just going through, rattling off all the co-drivers in January and February, and we'll get some stability to the lineup once the series proper gets underway. On behalf of him and the rest of the crew here, I'm Zach Caban. Until we see you for round 3 from the Imola circuit. Well done to Lachlan Capel. Bye for now.
Hi, my name's Courtney Prince, and last year I competed in Porsche Carrera Cup with BWT. Today I've been on the Sims with the OG race gear. I love the new gloves, they're really breathable and awesome, so you don't get sweaty hands using your normal race gloves on the Sim. The socks are also really good, you don't get sore feet on the Sim. I also think in training they'll be really handy as well.
We are gaming fanatics. Our goal has never been to just play games. We think it's much better to feel like you're actually in the game. This feeling is what drives us as we create world-class gaming chairs. Our one aim, give you a brand new gaming experience. Help you move in perfect sync with everything on screen. Make sure you're having a ton of fun. It took us decades to achieve this, and we're still not satisfied. Every day, we wake up to get better. We'll never stop designing the very best to help you be your best. When it's all said and done, our job's only done if you're in full flow and focused on your victory. May you win, and win big.